All right, welcome live, Cialis After Dark, live from Duluth, Minnesota. I really do. If anybody gives me a good email with a good intro write-up, I'll work out a deal for you over on the Centerline side for some gear. I got to come up with a better intro, guys. I don't know what to say on these Cialis After Darks, other than, hey, we're live. Welcome to Duluth, Minnesota. Hey, thanks for joining us here tonight. We got two very special guests. It's the last live stream of the year. Next Thursday, next Friday, it's already into January. I know, right? 2025, 2024 can suck it. 2025, knock on wood, will be better. But so this is the last live stream of the year. Just going to have some fun. I brought these two guys on of so many people I've been so fortunate to get to know as a result of being a small business owner and calling customers up and all that kind of stuff. These two dudes right here are pretty fucking funny. Don't give them your number because you'll be on and both of them already know what I'm talking about. Because I've done it with both of them where you'll call up just to say hi. And the next thing you know, it's 2 hours later and you're still having another glass of wine and shit, and everybody's got to work in the next morning. So we're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to have some fun tonight. And I tell you what, and this will be a test because I'm going to do this differently next year. So over on the Centerline, our loadout lives and our normal live streams, I come over and I answer, I put everybody's comments from the chat up there and we answer questions. I'm going to start doing that over here on the After Darks as well, because I think, and especially tonight, so we'll see what happens. So if you've got a question or if you've got your own military fun story to share, this will be the time to do it. I'm going to do that going forward. So here we already go. We got Gene saying, woo. We got Ground Fog over here with a big clap. And then we got Gene. I don't know why, but he's calling it Crayon Day. Is that a new boys? Can that be a new national holiday? Or would that be the Marine Corps birthday? Could we just call that Crayon Day?
No. I think that works.
Lead, blood, gut, and steel.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. That is, I think, what we mean when we just say Marine Corps birthday. But hey, okay, before I get going, I got just a little bit of housekeeping. So again, I'm going to start reading the chat over here on the live stream. I'll start doing or on the Cialis After Dark. But on that note, and I don't know who this person was last week, and I'm not saying they were wrong or whatever, but it was getting a little carried away and out of control. That's the one thing I'm just not going to. And it's never happened before. So when Redbeard and I were doing the Mission Critical podcast, we had once we had a troll. And I'm not saying this person was a troll, but it was just kind of it seemed a little glowy. It seemed a little like a Fed boy. The guy just kept talking about, if you don't do this, then you're pussies and you got to overthrow your government. Just all dude, that's not constructive. And that's just not gonna. So before we have a little bit of fun, just kind of saying that for going forward. So that's one of my major pieces of housekeeping. It's you're at the wrong live stream, the wrong podcast. If that's how you really feel, then go start, why are you waiting? Why do you need me? Are you trying to recruit me? Go lead your own revolution or whatever it is that you're trying to do, or Fed boy operation. No swearing at each other, no calling each other names, because it was getting, I'm just man, we got to stop that right now. So just putting my foot down, that's not going to be tolerated going forward. And then though, on a sad note, and you see, I've got mine on. Hey, what is that? Hey, what is that? Gimli, what is that? One of these things just doesn't belong here. One of these things.
One of these things is not like the other. Sesame Street.
Yeah.
So, those are boot camp training videos.
Hey, so Gimli's got his on. What did you say you feel like you look like with that on? Because it's orange.
The giant construction orange barrels.
Oh, Schneider eggs.
Hey, and he said it, not me.
That's where the Gimli comes from.
I was just going to say, that's why he wrote his name up there. Gimli. Somebody toss me. Yeah. Hey, but just on a sad note, and I wish Blackbeard was here for this too. So, Blackbeard helped me come up with this and work through this company and figure out the software and everything. And we said we were going to, take all the proceeds from the hoodies and donate them to either Samaritan's Purse or Donald Trump's GoFundMe. Both of those were designed towards the flood victims from Hurricane Helene in the Carolinas, the Southeast. And look, it just is what it is. I mean, I don't know, maybe the designs are crappy, but I love the hoodie myself, but we barely have sold any hoodies. I mean, I don't know what to say. So we're going to tweak the designs a little bit going forward. I've talked to some people.
Don't know what they're missing out, man.
Well,
This is awesome.
Well, that's me and you talking, but I don't see one on Murph. He ain't wearing one.
Hey, I'm a picky bastard. You know this. Like I just haven't bought one. Hey, I've got an excuse. I was out of I was in country, but I was out of CONUS for a while, so I didn't have time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that is true.
That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, but we've had them on the website for months, so whatever.
Okay,
what's the maximum effective range of an excuse? As far as you can take it.
Exactly, and I will push it as far as it will go.
My wife just bought a hoodie, my boy, for Christmas. Man, I love this hoodie. And I look down. I'm like, that's a Champion. That's like Walmart shit. And he's like, Mom said it was like $120. And I'm like, what? I thought Champion's like Walmart crap. I'm like, hey, you got none on Mark's hoodie, bro.
That's right.
Oh, no. Kids now think Champion is like top tier. So it's weird.
When I was a kid, that's when Starter was cool.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't even understand any of that. Let's just moving on past that. My last little bit of housekeeping, then we're going to get into story time with the United States Marine Corps. And I already know one of my stories I'm going to start off with, but Game of the Year, already getting a shout out from Henner Ben, saying that's a beautiful dog over your right shoulder.
Looks like, yeah,
got a good eye.
She's back there. She don't like going far from Dad.
No, she was sneaking up on you.
Yeah.
And then Gene, hoodies are great. My money's not there at the moment. As for Murph, plaid is not a crayon. I guess the shirt you're wearing right there is not a crayon color. So,
I feel like they make a plaid crayon somewhere. There's one.
They probably do. I mean,
that's like some Mel Brooks stuff. Yeah.
Somebody sent it to me. I think I sent it to you guys. Like the Marine Corps, the little like meme about like Marine Corps or like edible crayons and the whole somebody developed this for you guys, but it really is a no shit edible crayon. I'm sure it was designed for, young kids. So if they do eat it, they don't,
It's hilarious. I was in the Marine Corps 20 years ago. I heard my first crayon joke like 4 or 5 years ago. Honestly.
That's about the same for me. I've actually served alongside Marines overseas, and
I've heard some good jokes.
I don't know, Murphy. Is that a relatively new thing, or
it's fairly new? It kind of came around as I was getting out. It's kind of like the whoopee type thing. Like we never called it a whoopee; it was always a poncho liner.
Yeah,
then later you start hearing people call them whoopies. And I think it's very similar. I think it was, if you look it up, it's like you can trace back the stupid origins of that dumb duck thing that cheap people do. You can trace back the origins of the crayon thing too. It's like 2008 or something like that.
When did you get out, Murph?
2000, actually active duty 2005.
Okay.
So 2008 inactive. So it was right at the tail end of me having getting into it.
Yes, June 2005. So we got it at the same time.
Yep.
All right. My last little bit of housekeeping is this is the Glass Beach Mug Company. Murphy and I gave one of these away months ago for that fundraiser.
Good on you boys for that too. That was awesome.
Yeah, for the tadpoles getting over there to Pearl for the December 7th Pearl Harbor Day celebrations. So in honor of these two gentlemen here tonight, I'm going to drink a beer out of my Glass Beach Mug Company because, it's Marine Corps story time. So, I'm here to tell you, these things are fucking solid, man. So, all right. Hey, just in case, you guys have both been on, but just in case, you guys want to share this a little bit. You already kind of did it, gave a little bit of your service record. Again, don't have to be anything crazy, but you just want to tell everybody just a tad bit about you. And then we're going to get right into the jokes. I already got one ready.
Go ahead, Murph.
I don't know how much we want to do. Like I said, we've done this before, and I've, probably talked about plenty of it. But yeah, Murph, 0311 Marine Corps Infantry for 4.5 years active, and been deployed several times, combat tours twice. Got a what do you call it, like a terrorist attack on our float the first time. before we went to combat. I mean, I don't know. Now I'm just a guy in the Midwest.
When were you on
Gimli.
float? When were you on float?
Let's see. I did a Westpac. God, it was right before 9/11. Or well, I was after 9/11. So what was that? 2002. Right before we went into Baghdad. I came back. I had a 30-day leave and then went right back in.
Okay. Because I was on a med float in 03 right before we went Baghdad.
So we were kind of on the boat at the same time, probably. Yeah.
But you were on the West Coast?
I was Westpac. Yeah. I was in Camp Pendleton.
So I signed up for the Marine Corps on my 18th birthday. Did a year in the delayed entry program. Went to boot camp in 2001, summer 2001. Came home for boot leave. I actually left Cleveland Hopkins Airport at 05:35. I was in the airport with the terrorists that were on Flight 92. So I leave. The shit happens when I'm in the air. We landed in Charlotte, and they wouldn't let us off the plane for like 3 or 4 hours. We had no idea what the fuck's going on.
Damn.
Yeah. So I was flying to go to Camp Geiger for combat training because I'm a dirty pogue. I'm a field MP. So
I was gonna say, where's Geiger at? Which one's that?
Camp Geiger is where you went to combat training, but you would have went right after boot leave. But you go to 0311s at the time. We're going to combat training was like 3 months. I went for 30 days. Right,
Okay.
right outside of New River in North Carolina.
Oh, I know. I was Hollywood Marine all the way.
Oh, so
I thought I was never going to leave California. I thought I'm never leaving California, and I was totally fucking wrong.
Marines that go to Paris Island, they go on their boot leave at, what's boot camp, 13 and a half weeks, going boot leave.
Yeah.
So grunts go to combat training, but they're there for 90 days. And everybody besides a grunt still goes to combat training.
MCT,
Yeah, MCT. So MCT sucked for me because all my instructors who are grunts were like, yeah, we're going to war. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm 19 years old and we just signed up. And, because I got off the plane, I walked into Charlotte Airport, and I look in a bar and you can see the planes coming in. They're doing the replay. So it was a crazy story because the airport would not let us leave. So the American Red Cross came in. They were setting up cots for everybody. And then some like Charlotte cop came in, brought all the boot Marines that were going to MCT, and like, you guys aren't staying in my airport. He goes, I just got you a bus on the city credit card. So we get on a bus at like 0100. We're supposed to report for duty at like 0500. The bus gets lost. We show up to Camp Lejeune. They won't let us on base because everybody's like, it's not DEFCON 4, but whatever the hell we call it.
You're showing up unscheduled in a civilian bus. Yeah, I wouldn't let you on the fucking base either.
Now here we weren't even on the right base. So we're literally getting off the bus, and the company is already geared up and in formation. And they're like just handing us shit, and we're shoving it in a pack as we're going to combat training. And you go into the bush for 30 days. And you don't come back. So, yeah, that was fun.
All right, boys and girls. So there you can see that's how this episode is going to go. I mean, there's no controls. There's no filters. Just
I apologize.
No apologies necessary. Just strap in, boys and girls. Catch up mentally, like by deadening your senses. So this makes a little bit more sense to you. But on a serious note, if you've got questions or comments or stories, leave them in the chat. I think I'm tweaking these going forward because even on the after darks here, we're just bringing on such interesting and cool people. And I don't know. I mean, let's just be honest, it's just more interactive when people are asking their questions and their comments and stuff. So if you got questions, comments, throw it out there. There's already been some comments. Gene is, and maybe we'll start off with a little bit of history here, and then we'll get into the fun. Gene's just saying he's always heard of the Marines as devil dogs. Yeah. And because that's a question. Hang on, before when you guys just go off half talk, because I'm going to want to ask you if it's bad or good to double D somebody. So just don't answer that yet. And then we got Angry Viking Veteran. Whoobies are the most essential items in his snivel gear. Well, like, so we see back to your kind of point, John, AKA Gimli. At that time, we were just called the snivel gear, a snivel gear or a poncho liner, like, the whoopee thing, I think kind of, I don't know, when that really kind of came out. AVV, tell us the first time you heard the term whoopee, or anybody else here who was in the Army or any other branch of service veteran. Hey, and then we've got, hang on real quickly. And then Jared, first time making it live, he says, and here for the jokes. And this is the first time we're really kind of doing a different format on this. So welcome, Jared, and chime in with comments and whatever. All right. Now, who wants to take the devil dog? Because there's a little bit of a mixed history on where that term really comes from.
Is it a really mixed history, or is it the Army trying not to make us sound as cool as we are?
It's probably people trying to make you guys not sound cool.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yeah, it was World War I, Battle of Bellewood.
Germans called us. We said we fought like Teufelhundens.
Teufel. Auf Deutsch ist Teufelhunden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they lost. They don't get a count.
Yeah, so that's where the name.
We don't care how they pronounce it. They lost twice.
Right.
Okay. See, now there's a good Marine Corps attitude right there. So if you don't understand Marines, you're getting a little taste of it right now. I'm trying to be a smart ass. My German is pretty rusty, but I used to speak it pretty good. I'm trying to say it correctly. And fucking Murph gets in like, yeah, we don't care how it's really pronounced. They lost twice. We're going to say it however the fuck we want to say it. So that's a little bit, but yeah. So World War I, that's how I've always known it. Again, Bellewood, you guys kick some serious ass. Germans didn't really care much for it and called you guys like, hounds from the hell. Hounds from hell.
That's what Teufelhunden translates to is hellhounds, correct?
Yeah, hellhounds. Yep. Yeah. All right. Now on that note, just on a funny thing. So again, I actually probably did more. I have more experience working with and around Marines from my time in the agency than I do in my time in the military. But my time in the agency, I'm by, with, and through a lot of Marines, good guys, great units, really assisted in operations. We're obviously assisting them. This is when the wild, wild west was the wild, wild west, kind of maybe after your guys' time. We're past Fallujah, now we're out in, Al-Qaim, and shit's kind of just going crazy out there. And I don't know if you guys were around for Operation Matador. Again, we're not trying to make this into war stories, but I'm just trying to paint the period of time and work by, with, and through. Ended up breaking cover with a couple of them because I actually went back home on States, went back to the States, took leave once, and went to one of their weddings up at Annapolis. And that was just, come on. Okay, let's just turn it in there. Like, seriously, and I don't know if you guys will get in trouble, but when you guys threw on your dress uniform, like, did you really have to have a stick to beat the women off of you? I mean, you
got a Scotch guard for the slug trails, yeah.
Dude, I never even had dress blues. I never even bought them. I spent like maybe 8 months on base in country or in the U.S. The rest of the time I was overseas. So I never even bought them because you don't get issued your deltas. Right, your dress blues, you do not get issued. You get, when you're in boot camp, you get this little jacket that's cut off from here, and you get one picture.
It's like those Civil War pictures. You do it like a theme park where they basically put it on from behind. It's Velcro, and they put a stupid hat on, and it makes it look official. But it's like a Zoom outfit.
Yeah, every time I dressed up, I was in the ugly alphas, which is like the green with all red insignias. So I didn't really dress up much. I like the.
Hey, boys and girls, have you noticed? Hang on, just for the audience, everybody watching, it's you guys are taking a lot of time talking about not wearing dress blues, where the real question was your blues. I mean, let's just be honest. Probably one of the best uniforms out there. Definitely a chick magnet. I mean, generally, are you just
I never got to use
the best uniform? Yeah, the best uniform.
And for the record, in all fairness, I was trying to get a female prior Marine, whatever, however you guys say it, a female who used to be a Marine. I was trying to get a female on for tonight too, just to add a little bit of flavor and a completely different set of stories. And I don't know, man. I don't know.
We might have hurt her feelings.
Well,
I don't think so. Mel's a tough bird, man. She can hang. She just her attention span is not there for this. I don't think.
That's cool.
Well, I should have laid a breadcrumbs of or crayon crumbs all the way to the
Crayon shavings, yeah.
yeah. Hey, we had just a couple questions, just going back to the Whoopie, and then we'll move on. But Devil Dog, but okay. Before I read the questions, so again, my experience or my relationship with Marines really kind of, for me, was starting in like in 03, again out in Western Iraq. But I've kind of, it seems like it's a mixed bag to me. Like sometimes they don't like hearing the double D. Yeah. And other times, like, is that a unit thing? Like some units don't like double Ds?
It's about tone, When you use the word devil dog, if I'm yelling at my kid, God damn it, devil dog, that's it pisses people off. But it can also be a term of endearment. You know what I mean? So it's all on how you use it. Leatherneck's the same way, but Leatherneck is a little more warming. Like, come here, Leatherneck, I got to talk to you real quick. You know what I mean? But sometimes if you were fucking up and you did something stupid and you got caught and you heard devil dog, you were like, it's kind of like your mom using your middle name. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody ever called me Leatherneck. I don't.
Maybe it's a West Coast, East Coast thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would just be like, what is this, 1933? Like, what are we doing?
They're always like, come over here, Leatherneck.
Bring. Hello, Leathernecks. This is a really funny talkie talk.
Like the Archer thing.
Yeah, Archer. Yeah, exactly. Bring. Hello, this is the 1930s.
Oh, 1930s, call it.
We'd like our plain clothes and shitty airplane back.
Yeah, well, here's the thing with Devil Dog, too. I mean, obviously, a non-NCO calls an NCO Devil Dog. Somebody's getting choked.
Yeah,
right?
That's true, too.
Like
it's usually accompanied with like a knife hand and maybe the other hand getting ready to choke your ass.
It's a term of endearment. You know what I mean?
Okay, so double D is a term. Double D, Devil Dog. So that's more of a term of endearment, but it can, depending on how used or the context and who's delivering it, that can also be fighting words.
Well, were you actually walking in saying double D or were you saying devil dog?
Oh, no. I actually never called any of the guys I worked with that. I mean, well,
I never heard double D.
Hang on.
Yeah, I never did either. I was like, that could be different. That's like
different.
No.
Yeah, that's like the Army. You guys called like your first sergeant top or some shit.
No. Not
because that would not fly in the Marine Corps. I know that.
So some units will do that, and
the
first
not in Marine Corps.
Well, but those are shitty units.
No.
Or maybe behind closed.
You might get away with gunny.
Well, maybe behind closed doors with the senior NCO Corps, But at that point in time, you're so professional, you probably are even just calling each other by first names, right?
Probably, yeah. I guess, okay.
Yeah. But no, the Devil Dog.
Who the hell is calling each other by their first names?
Who'd you say that again?
You said you guys used to call each other by their first names?
It depends. On the senior levels, I've definitely
you're talking like staff and higher.
Yeah. You're not talking like a regular just buck sergeant.
I got
it. Fact, hang on. Here we go. This is going to be a shit show, folks. We're all going to talk over each other. But there is just like a quick little Army story. So this is in the Army Reserve. Actually, was the best unit I'd ever served in, and people can debate all they want on this. But for the units I've served in, and one of my team leaders, his girlfriend asked him one time, like, hey, what's Sergeant Lane's first or what's Lane's first name? And my team leader said Sergeant. So to your guys' point, don't take that to mean everybody does it. It happens differently in different units at different echelons. It's something I didn't like it about the officer corps, to tell the truth, is, the officer corps, once the doors were shut, like it was like they were making a point to call each other by the first name. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Are we besties now? I mean, NCOs was always different though, because you spent so much more time with each other.
But we'd still call each other by our last names. You're just using one. I wouldn't say Corporal Murph. I'd be like, hey, Murph. Play spades, right?
Yeah. Or if you had a little nickname or something like that.
Yeah, but a private's not going to call me Dunphy.
No.
Matter of fact, me and my wife were together like, I want to say 2 or 3 years, and we were arguing, and she yelled at me. She said, Dunphy. And I swear to God, I was like, what the fuck did you just call me?
Psyop shit. What?
Yeah. This is only like a year or two after out of the Marine Corps. So I was already hardwired like, hell no, you didn't.
It's like doing the dog whistle for your dog in the middle of disciplining. You just tweet it.
Off.
What are you doing? Yeah.
Well, what's weird is before I went in the Marine Corps, and now everybody calls me Dunphy because it's kind of a weird last name, and it's better than John. Just everybody calls me Dunphy or Dunf.
Yeah.
It must be an Irish name thing, Murph.
Oh,
right?
I think it is because I know my daughter was super excited when she got called Murph for the first time.
Yeah.
She was like, she came up and was like, Dad, they called me Murphy. I was like, that's your name. She's like, they called me Murph. It was even better. I was like, it's there for the rest of your life. Enjoy it.
Yep. It's a Scotch. It's just definitely got to be a Scotch Irish thing.
Yep.
Know?
All right. Hey, before we go into you guys starting off with just, telling some funny stories. So here we go. AVV. So this was back to the Whoopi conversation. He believes the term came from a kid's show sometime in 2002 at the beginning. I think it was a name for a cartoon kids blanket. And that is what a Whoopi is. So I didn't know if it was a cartoon, but I think that's it. Robert is saying he wasn't here, so I'm not sure. AVV. Now, okay, we can circle back around to this. He's basically saying that Space Force has the best Class A's. Way better than the Marine Corps. He's
Never
fucking around, guys.
Oh,
He's
found our troll.
I've never even seen him. What the hell is Space Force? Is that Trump thing?
Trump did start it. Yeah, I mean, he did. That's Trump's
Is
fucking
that actually
army.
Department of Defense, though? Is that a branch of the DOD?
That is. Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They have a fight song and everything. I was like, what? I stuck around to hear it. The Marine
What do the
band
kids
came
do,
in.
just fly rocket simulators and drones and shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I heard they just pick them from the Air Force and Navy.
But I'm here to tell you, something tells me that you're never going to see Space Force versus Army Navy in a bowl game or any of that kind of. I think Space Force would be, like I don't know if you guys ever seen the Robot Wars. Like their thing will be like building fucking, their own robots and fighting other robots. They're not going to go out there and play lacrosse or football. Just my thoughts right there. Probably not. And honestly, Murphy, hang on, for both you and Gimli, this actually is another proud moment because now you officially have two branches of service that are your guys' taxi drivers, the Navy and Space Force, because Space Force isn't going to land on some
cool.
No, they're going to use Space Marines, Colonial Marines.
Yeah, that's going to be you guys.
Yeah.
So you guys now have two branches of service to drive you around.
Yeah. I agree with that. I'm surprised. You know what it is? They're the guys that played like back in the day, probably, I don't know. This is probably before me, but based on what I've seen off like 70s movies, is you had the dudes playing Dungeons and Dragons in the basement. You had the jocks and all the party goers and stuff. They're going to be the Dungeons and Dragons guys. They're going to surface later and be the cool guys one day when shit goes south out in space. Right now, they're dorks that nobody knows anything about, and we make fun of them. One day, they might rise to the top and be like, holy shit, these guys showed up with their lasers and made stuff happen and blew up a satellite. But right now, we're just like, what a bunch of dorks. What do they even do?
Yeah, and the Marines are the jocks, and then they can't walk when they're 40.
Exactly. Yeah, we're running the used car lot downtown.
Yep. All right, and then now we've got somebody weighing in on Whoopi saying that during his term of service, 74 to 92, he had not heard Whoopi either. So I think that is a more modern, kind of vernacular right
Mark,
there.
you should ask Blackbeard because the first time I heard Whoopi was from a bushcrafter, and I know Blackbeard's in the bushcraft, right? I want to know if that term kind of came from that.
Yeah.
The guys that got out and got in the the survivalists and stuff like that. Because that's the first time I heard Whoopi.
The first time I ever heard it was from an Army guy, and it was former Army, and it was at a bushcraft event, and a guy dropped it on me. He's like, "You got your Whoopi?" I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah,
and I knew it.
Hang on, you just said it. You were at a bushcraft event.
I was at a bushcraft event, but it was a former Army guy that pointed it out. I was like, I think it is. I think that's right because I see it more in the bushcraft area than I do here. Like I was on Cave A recently, right? And nobody talked about Whoopies. I said, hey, I need a poncho liner. And they knew exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
But if I'd have said, hey, a Whoopi, they might have known too, because these kids are like fucking 18 now. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they didn't know.
It's in the Army though to turn a poncho liner into a kid's blanket, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but see, if it did originate, here's my educated guess, right? Story time. My educated guess it would have come from somebody like in Delta or Special Forces, because that would have been funny. Because literally, travel light, freeze at night. That was our motto of light infantry, and that's what I spent most of my military
Done a
career.
ranger role and all that.
Yeah, so you get so attached to it. When we tell funny stories, I don't want to say his name because he's still alive and everything, but I'll just call him Jerry. I remember one time we were waiting for pickup. We had flown in, some guys needed bodies and C-130s for some short strip, dirt strip landing, practice. And they flew us in there, practice landing and take off, because they wanted bodies in there. Then they left us alone. They went off and probably stayed at, Hotel Hilton. And then we stayed there. Now our training is done and we're waiting for them. It's the night before. And this isn't super tactical. So we're in kind of more of a bivouac type of area. But, just to everybody who's ever been in the military, you got one whoopee for two guys, right? One poncho liner for two guys. That's because, you just didn't want to carry a ton of shit. And you're going to get cold. So body heat, and you're already in a 2x2 by you fighting position, all that kind of stuff. But here is this guy named Jerry, and he's got one wrapped around him. It's 0 dark 30, like, Gimli said, you're just everybody's stomping their feet and, cuddled up and huddled up as best they can. And the chaplain was there in our assembly area, and he was in a van, they had vehicles, and there was a whippoorwill, whippoorwill, will, like those birds. You guys heard those birds? Whippoorwills?
I knew exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. No, that's before me.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not.
You have a whippoorwill down. You don't have them down there?
You have whippoorwills?
No. What are you guys talking about?
It's a bird.
It's a bird.
Will. It makes a noise like that.
Oh, when you say bird, I'm thinking helicopters.
No.
Like a real, like a bird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like a bird.
Not in Ohio. No.
And they're kind of like, morning. They're kind of like dark birds, right? Morning, evening type of thing. Well, Jerry got pissed off at this thing because it was just being annoying, and we're all fucking freezing our asses off. He grabbed a stick, but he kept his poncho liner closed up like this around his body. And then he tried to throw the stick like this without, and yeah, you're already seeing it. The stick didn't even come close to the bird. It fucking hit the chaplain's van and broke a window, and we just all fucking scattered, and ran away. So, so poncho liners, whoobies, whatever you want to call them, they're awesome, but they can also they can cause accidents. So, all right, here we go. Now we got Paul probably being a little smarty. I think I know who this is. Paul, if this is BCP, Bravo Charlie Papa, Space Force isn't flying anyone in spacecrafts. Oh, we don't have our own spacecrafts? Just like we went to the moon, but decided not to go back to the moon, right? So we know no one's flying around, fucking Starship Troopers. But Paul,
we're joking, right? That's way future if it ever gets down to that. Yeah.
Well, no, but Paul
that happens.
But he's also giving us shit. I'm pretty sure I know who this is. And then
I love how Murph's drinking out of a canteen cup, by the way. Good on.
Well, see,
I'll get into that in a minute.
All right. And then he said it was in the Mr. Mom movie in the 80s.
Really?
Fuck. I
remember Mr. Mom. That was Michael Keaton, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah. That's like multiplicity. Yeah, it's like that kind of thing.
I did. They called me Mr. Mom. I was a stay-at-home dad for like 7 years, bro. I definitely know that movie.
All right. Go wherever you want to go. If you want to start off with Canteen Cup, but now I think we've loosened up enough. Let's just have some fun. We've kind of seen the tone and tenor. Don't tell any stories about your time, sneaking across the Mexican border because you spent all your money in Tijuana or any of that kind of shit. Let's keep it a little, rated R. Yeah, let's just keep it rated R. I know you're trying to figure out what that is.
You have to yell at me if I go across the line.
Well, just don't
the
go.
Definition of Marine is we cross the fucking line.
That is kind of your guys' position. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
All right. Tell us about the Canteen Cup.
So this one, my headset's not on, so I don't know how well you guys can hear me on everything. But this one's that one I bought at K-Bay. It's current issue, straight up U.S. made. Picked it up at the PX there. They told me that you're not allowed to buy things unless you're active duty. 782 gear. They even have that still written on there. 782 gear is not permitted unless you have a sponsor or you're active duty. What? We did not have a sponsor. I went to the lady. You know how it is. You go to the PX and it's like going to the mall. Like you go to the lady in electronics who gets no action because everybody buys their shit on Amazon. So I just went over there and I said, hey, I've got some items here that I'm not sure if I'm able to buy. And she goes, you're a Marine? And I said, yeah. She goes, are you still active? And I was like, no. She goes, all right, well, once a Marine, always a Marine. You can buy whatever the fuck you want. I said, fair enough. So my daughter got to buy a new, I don't know what they call it, but it's a piss cutter, you know, the wedge cap. She got to buy a new one of those for her uniform because there's a female version. So she bought that. And then I bought the canteen cup. And if I'd have known that I was able to buy things that were current issue, I would have bought a poncho liner. I would have bought a new poncho. But now they're like fucking 90 something bucks. Yeah. I mean, they're insane for current issue and they're reversible. They're really cool. Don't get me wrong. They were way high speed. But I was like, dude, I'd have went broke in there if I'd have known that. I'd have came back and bought a bunch of other shit. And I would have bought a new e-tool, all kind of stuff. But I ended up buying that. And then the beer that I'm drinking, I think I've posted it maybe. You guys will get a kick out of this. It's a BRD, beer ready to drink. Out of now, it's not my favorite style. It's a Pilsner. I hate Pilsners and I don't like wheats because wheats give me headaches. But it's out of the Star Spangled Brewing Company down in Clarksville, Tennessee. So,
Murph, how you going to a PX? Were you retired? Don't you have to have an ID to don't you have to be retired to get on the PX or on a base?
I was there with the Young Marines in Hawaii, and I just walked into the PX and like
base in 20 years.
The
civilians go? Like,
do you remember how it is though, right? Like if you got a guy standing guard, he doesn't want to be there, especially on Pearl Harbor Day.
Yes, man, I did that.
Yeah, and you can roll in and you can, if you act like that's what you're supposed to be doing, you can get away with most things.
We used to pull guys over off the main gate. They'd have to give ID, insurance, and if they didn't have somebody come pick them up at the main gate, civilians were not allowed on the. That all happened. We had fleet panel vans. We did have a sponsor thing in our window. Hawaii, right?
Yeah. We had a sponsor thing in our window, but once we got in the gate, they didn't give a shit what we did. My daughter walked right into the legal office, whatever their legal guy, the JAG office. She walked into the JAG office and used their restroom because I asked a corpsman. I said, "Hey, is there a restroom?" He goes, "I think you can go in that office right there." He's like, "Second door on the left, sure." She walked right in.
Military ID at the PX to check out. Really?
They didn't give a fuck.
How much booze did you buy when you were there?
Hey, none, because I was with Young Marines, and that's not allowed.
Wait.
Well, just on that note right there, though, John, an AVV who watches, he might be able to chime in on this. I have yet to do it. I've got my VA ID card, but I don't have my retired military ID card. I've just never gotten off my ass and done it. And there are a few facilities here in Minnesota. I don't know if there's any of them that are worth even the trouble. The closest for me would be going to Fort McCoy. And then what you said, then you could go to the, everything on base. Once you've got that ID card, then you can go on base and you can partake in, the commissary, all that shit, the PX, the whole 9 yards. So, gosh dang, man. I don't know what's going to be like this. I just realized I haven't been on a military base in military uniform. I had to go back in the military for about a little over 2 years. My retirement got all fucked up, and that's a stupid story. It's only funny because of how fucked up it is. But I had to go do that, and I still don't have my retirement squared away. I'm still missing a year right now, but I don't know how my brain just went over in that direction. All right. Hey, back on point here. All right. So we're talking about canteen cups, talking about Pearl. I want to kind of hear it just started off, or whatever, but for me, I think it all starts at boot camp. Right now, we're just a bunch of old dudes reminiscing about stuff, right? Let's start it off at the beginning of your career. How about that? John's like, oh, I'm going to need another beer for this one, Matter of fact, I might need one too. So let's start it off with you, Murphy. Basic training. again, assuming that we're telling stories that people watching are prior service themselves, or they've maybe never been in the military, maybe they got a family member or a loved one, and hopefully this will scare them. And they'll do something stupid to get their kid in trouble. And I got a story on that. Basic training. Don't ever fucking send your kid an Easter basket while they're in basic training.
I thought you were going to say, don't ever send your kid to basic training.
Well, okay, there's that too. Don't even do that. But all right, what do you guys got? Basic training stories.
All right, so I went to basic training summer 2001.
Oh my God.
So
you're so fucking young.
So
dude, seriously? 2001?
Yeah. And it was right after, it was 5 days after I graduated high school. I was just turned 19 years old. I mean, a lot of funny shit happened in basic training. I mean, some of we're going to start. The funniest story I think I've ever happened, and unless you were in the military, you might not think it's funny, but somebody pissed off a drill instructor, like pissed him off, right? And we did something called a Mount Iwo Jima. So they strip you down. We were stripped down naked. So they'd say, take your shirt off, throw them in the center of the squad bay. Take your shorts off, center of the squad bay. Left sock, center of the squad bay. So on and so forth, right? Dump your foot lockers. Everybody's stuff gets put in a giant pile, right? Strip the beds off. Blankets and sheets get ripped off, put in a pile. Then they made us take apart the bunks. We took them apart, stripped them on the pile. And then the drill instructor put the guide, the platoon guide flag, right? Guide on into the thing and said, you got 5 minutes to put everything away. So there's like 60 dudes running around buck naked, haven't had a shower in 3 days, running around trying to figure out whose underwear is whose socks is whose, blah, blah, blah. We put all this shit away. We didn't put it away in 5 minutes. So guess what we had to do? Put it back.
All over again.
And we redid it. By the end of the day, we got it done. Then we had a PT. I ran like 3 miles in a right shoe that was a size like 12 and a right shoe that was a size 11. And I got midget feet. I wear a size 8. So one was way too big and one was way too small.
And one wasn't for the appropriate foot.
Exactly. There are 2 right shoes. But after the first mile, everything was fucking numb and it didn't matter.
Yep.
So I mean, that's a good story. Here's a pretty good funny story too. So I grew up, like, my dad wanted me to go in the Marine Corps, right? So I grew up on Heartbreak Ridge and all those Marine movies. I'm a kid from the 90s. I watched Major Payne a lot. So you know how Major Payne eat and he like sucked all that food in, right? So my dad naturally.
Hang on, I'm sorry, because I could hear it, like Major Payne. If people haven't seen that movie,
in Major Payne, there's a scene where he like sucks down his whole food plate in 30 seconds.
Yeah, but
my dad, when growing up,
hang on, just real quickly. But one of my favorite moments from that movie is they're letting him go, and he's like, "But there's got to be some," and it's one of the Damon brothers. I can't remember which one it is, but funny as hell. Yeah, and he's like, "There's got to be somebody who needs some killing." No, Payne, you've killed them all.
So anyway, my dad, growing up, like everybody was like, dude, you inhale your food. And he's a civilian. He was never in the military. My dad pushed the military on me because both of my uncles were drafted. He felt left out. So he kind of pushed it on me, right? So naturally, I just grew up eating fast. So I eat fast at boot camp. The drill instructors see that, and they put me in the first of the line every time. And I sit down with my chow, and a drill instructor's going, eat, right? I'm eating fast. And as soon as I got done, the whole platoon was done, right? They put all the fat kids in the back. And I'd finish. They'd tell me to get up, and they'd make the fat kids walk past the trash can and throw their fucking chow in the trash, right? obviously I feel bad about this, but you don't. I'm 19 years old. I'm just doing what I'm told. I'm trying to survive. One night, I just hear a little tap on my bunk, and they're like, dude, if you don't slow the fuck down, we were going to fucking kill you. And it's like the fat dudes around my bunk, and I'm like,
Was there a lot of heavy breathing involved too?
no deep breathing. And they just woke me up, and I'm like, okay.
The guy tapping on.
There's no soap parties in 2001, but I'm surprised I didn't get a soap party. You know?
But so the guy tapping on your bunk was what's that character's name from Full Metal Jacket?
Pile. Yeah.
Pile. Yeah, it's Pile.
Yeah.
Breathing through his mouth, just if you don't slow down the chow line.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna muster up the energy to kick your ass.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty funny. I mean, there's funny boot camp stories, and like at Lejeune. Oh, it's funny you bring up Pile and that movie, because that movie was shot at the rifle range at Lejeune.
The rental range.
What's that?
What's a rental range?
Rifle range.
Oh, well, you said rental range. Rental.
So at Lejeune, the rifle range is so far away from base, the main side, that you move to the rifle range to different barracks for a week. Those barracks are the barracks that what the hell is that movie called again?
Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, that's from what I've been told. That's where that movie was shot. And here's a funny story. So Arlie Ermy was my senior drill instructor. He showed us a picture of it after we graduated. I thought that was pretty fucking cool.
All right. And if anybody doesn't know, and I did have this already prepared just because it was Christmas just 2 days ago. We got to just do this real quick. In honor of these two gentlemen and what we're talking about right now. The timing was perfect. Here we go.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jesus. Happy birthday to you. Today is Christmas. There will be a magic show at 0930. Chaplain Charlie will tell you about how the free world will conquer communism with the aid of God and the few Marines. God has a heart-on for Marines because we kill everything we see. He plays his games, we play ours. To show our appreciation for so much power, we keep heaven packed with fresh souls. God was here before the Marine Corps, so you can give your heart to Jesus, but your ass belongs to the Corps.
I know everybody has probably seen that or heard that, but your ass belongs to the Corps. Lee, I mean, like, he passed away just a few years ago, wasn't it?
4 or 5 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. But, like, I mean, seriously, like, wouldn't it have been great just to have a beer with him as opposed to well, no, hang on, and tell me, you guys can fill me, and like, I like pop culture, I like movies and stuff. But my understanding is he wasn't hired for that role. He was an advisor to the movie,
right?
And then the person they had playing the drill sergeant, like, that was Kubrick who did it. Yeah, that's a Kubrick movie. Yeah. It was like, no, let's just have the advisor be the guy, because this guy, because he was a drill sergeant, right?
Yeah. Yep. Well, I never met the guy, but like I said, my senior drill instructor said that was his drill instructor. And what's weird is, fast forward 15 years later, in my township, I live just like southwest of Akron. A friend of mine, you remember that show he was on, Mail Call?
Yeah.
Arlie Ermy had? There was an episode where civilians could go shoot out of helicopters, right? I ended up meeting the dude that that was a helicopter mechanic. Him and a pilot started this company. He's out of my hometown. I've known him now for like 15 years. Unfortunately, he passed last year. But he told me that Arlie Yermy was just like the coolest son of a gun ever. Nothing to his head. Hollywood hit him and all that kind of stuff. And he was an army brat. My buddy was, who was the helicopter pilot who started this company. And he said Arlie Yermy was busting his chops the whole time for just being a helicopter pilot, but he was like down to earth and super cool dude, you know?
My favorite drill sergeant story. I'll tell an Army drill sergeant story, and then we'll circle it back around to, you know, we had good drill sergeants.
We got a couple more.
Well, you know,
Do you guys remember all your DI's names?
I do not. I only remember one of my DIs actually absconded or got away with one of my dress shirts because he and I were about the same size, and you're leaving, you know, and he was probably just, you know, like, you know, again, it's issued, you know, and you have to buy that.
He acquired it.
Yeah. And he's just like, yeah, here's a stupid private. I'll just acquire an extra, you know, class B shirt from this kid right here. We were the same size, but I did really respect him. Of all my drill sergeants, and, you know, but to your point, Murph, no, I don't remember his name. I really don't. I don't remember any drill sergeants. Matter of fact, I don't really remember any of the names from anybody I was in basic training with. I can see a lot of their faces and some of their nicknames. Skyler, my battle buddy. What do you think happened? You know, I'm white, he's black. All of your hair gets shaved off. What do you think the nicknames were? It's pretty hard to guess, right? Well, maybe it is hard for people to guess.
Cue ball and 8 ball?
Yeah, cue ball and 8 ball, because I grew up in an era where there weren't race fucking relations. And Eddie Murphy was, you know, and Whitney Houston and all that. Like, you know, it was a very different era back then. You know, like we were all focused on fighting the goddamn Russians and not dying in a nuclear war. Very different, you know, without getting into politics. So moving that side. So I was cue ball, he was 8 ball. I'll remember 8 ball to the day I die. I don't remember 8 ball's name to save my life right now, or my drill sergeant.
Was that your drill sergeant, or was that?
No, that was my basic training battle buddy.
Yeah. What about you, Murph? I remember one, and I
remember all of them. And then,
I feel ashamed that I don't remember all of them.
well, here's the crazy thing. So I remember all of ours for our platoon. We were 2138, and I remember our senior. I remember all the way down. We had, you know, you had your heavy, you had your, I don't know what the other guy, I don't know what the
top and low hat or what.
Yeah, and then you had the dude that was kind of in training. And then I remember trying to figure out what this dude was, because I could tell even as a brand new boot, like I was a shower shoe, right? I knew this fucker rolling in did not belong there. And I remember asking, when you're coming down from the Reaper, you get your EGA and they're telling you, now you're a Marine, but you know, you haven't officially got the title, but you're a Marine. Like they'll tell you all the secret squirrel shit. They'll tell you.
Crucible, right?
Yeah. So we're coming down the hill from the Reaper, and I remember Staff Sergeant Reddish, he was DI, and he told me, or he said, anything you guys want to know, you're in the circle now. I'll tell you anything you want to know. And I'm like,
yeah, okay.
So I had 2 questions, and the only 2 questions I had, he was just like floored that they were this fucking stupid. The one I wanted to know was, what was Phipps, who was the kind of apprentice kind of guy that didn't belong? What was his MOS? And I thought he goes, what do you think it is? Right?
Had to be admin.
Had
to be admin.
Well, I said, I'm going to guess he's Marine Corps band. And he's like, fucking bullshit, Murphy. And he starts going off and telling me this guy was some kind of admin guy. Yeah, he was some kind of pogue, something. I don't know what he did. But anyway.
Band, you be over 6'2" for band.
Yeah. So he tells me this. And then he turns around and he's like, what's your other question? I'm like, well, fuck, that one seemed kind of stupid. And he's like, fucking spit it out, or we're fucking PTing all the way back to the fucking Warriors breakfast. I'm like, okay, cool. So I said, yeah, I was asking about that stupid little flap in the fucking, you know, the cami pants. They had that dumb little material that was like in the pockets, the you know, where your dick goes out when you go to piss.
Yeah.
So and I said, what is that? And he's like, he just stopped. He stops rucking down the hill and looks at me. He goes, what the fuck are you talking about? And I tell him, he goes,
no idea.
And he goes, get the fuck to the front of the formation and don't stop until you get there. And I'm like, okay. And I just take off. And he's like, I was like, this is so stupid, man. I was like, I'm asking questions and I just wanted to know the whole time we were here. And now I'm an idiot. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So, dude, I feel bad that, I mean, I remember with Staff Sergeant Dunbar because of that like kind of like that scene Mark just showed.
Yeah.
He was yelling at us about, oh, you can go to church. You can go to church. You're going to go to church.
Everybody went to church.
But when you come back, whose house is this? And we were all standing like at attention. Whose house is this? It's the devil's house. And he go, I didn't hear you. And we go, devil's house, sir. And he made us repeat it over and over and over again. Right? But I thought this motherfucker was evil. We were coming back after the Crucible, and he pinned me on, dude. I'm not playing that, dude. I started fucking crying. And this dude gave me a hug. He's like, you're going to be a badass Marine, bro. You know, he goes, as long as you want to do it, you can do it because you got the heart to do it. You know, but I remember him just because he was making a scream, the devil's house. It's the devil's house. We're coming back to the devil's house. It's kind of hilarious. And then talking about real funny stories, this dude was dating a female drill instructor because you remember you guys don't have it on the West Coast.
We didn't. I think they're there now. Yeah, I think they're there now.
So Camp Lejeune's got a female battalion. It's 4th Battalion.
Mm-hmm.
He's dating one of the drill instructors. So one night when he was on duty, he made us all strip down naked before she was coming over, right, to say hello.
All right, boys and girls, just prepare yourself. Hang on. This is the mindset of people in the military.
This is a rare story in the Marine Corps when everybody's naked and there's actually a chicken ball. Go ahead.
I already know this is a true story. This is exactly the kind of shit that happens in the military right now.
So anyway, he must have known she was coming in the barracks, and he's like, sideshow hops, and we just attention, sideshow hops, sir, naked, doing sideshow hops, and he goes into the senior drill instructor's house, and this little black chick comes out and it's like, God damn it, you put those little pieces of chick dicks away. And we're all like, what the hell do we do? Because that's not our drill instructor. So we keep doing them. And she starts pounding on the door. She's like, Dunbar, get out here. And then he comes out. He goes, put them dicks away now.
All right. Now that is a good fucking story. Right there. That seriously is a good story right there. All right, Murph. Not that this is a side straddle hop measuring contest. But, what do you got? What do you got?
I mean, we had the hazing that didn't happen, right? We had that stuff. We had, God, how many people do you know that would have some dumb boot in your platoon that would say Marine Corps at some point? Yeah. And the DI had to correct them. And I still hear it.
Tattoos.
Yeah. And I still hear, oh yeah, they show up with tattoos, already fucking sporting EGAs. Fuck off. You are done.
Well, hey, you guys just not trying to slow the story down, but you're getting, if you slip into Marine Corps language, you gotta, EJ, Eagle, Globe, and Anchor, just.
Yeah, you're actually, so they tell us when we're in that you're not supposed to call it an EGA. It's disrespectful. But here's the thing. They're all about brevity and saving time. And I'm not going to sit and say Eagle, Globe, and Anchor every fucking time. I got one behind me. Okay. I respect the thing. It's a fucking EGA. Yeah.
But I'm just saying a lot of people would have no idea what the fuck
an
EGA.
Hey, no. Turn your head just a little bit, nerd. Yeah. So
there you go.
For everybody seeing, dudes would show up with that on their forearm on the wrong side because that anchor is supposed to aim towards your heart.
Yep.
And you'd have the guys with the tattoo, and that anchor would be. They're not even Marines yet, and they got fucking Marine Corps tattoos.
Well, it's kind of like the dudes that you hear. God, there was something I was watching.
The judge sent him.
Yeah, but you would hear like in like Discovery Channel, right? Like that stuff was really big when I was in. I was watching. I don't know. It was like a Green Beret fucking training cycle or some shit, and they did as much as they could show. They said. They did like Robin Sage and all this. And I remember at one point the guy saying he already bought his beret. He's ready. And the other guy's like, yeah, you can't do that. Like if you buy your beret before you're ready, you've already jinxed yourself. Yeah. Yep. And it was like shit like that. You don't show up with an EGA that you haven't fucking earned.
Yeah. That's how you
Hey, and just on that note, though, just so, I mean, we're telling kind of fun stories, but, these are part of the stories. No, Murph is exactly right. You don't jinx yourself like that. So I don't know, maybe people in the
Well, they said
military
don't
are
ever shave your
superstitious.
fucking head before boot camp, right? I
was actually going to talk about a different story at a much higher level. So I'm at Rappel Master School, and there was, just to your point, there's a guy in there who was already preparing for what he was going to do once he finished. It's like, you got to finish the course first, dude.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a physically demanding course. It was a mental course. And for me in the military, and I didn't go through selection. I didn't go through, buds or any of that shit. But, that was the highest attrition class I'd seen for me. Air Assault School and Rappel Master School. That had the greatest attrition because it was more of it. But so that guy, to your guys' point, I just wanted to share that with everybody. Yeah, you don't do that shit. And everybody, and so again, everybody who's there is like an E6, and like that's like a squad leader and above. We had, some
in the Army.
Yeah. So we had some captains.
Squad leader in the Marine Corps is a corporal.
What's that?
A squad leader in the Marine Corps is a corporal.
Well, but your task organization is a little bit different. So us, a squad leader.
But anyway,
We also broke his foot.
Yeah, but anyway, my point was just going back to what you guys were saying. If you did that, I mean, like whoever was in your life and didn't stop you from doing that needs to be reprimanded. Like, no, son, you are not getting that tattooed before you go to Lejeune or whatever. Or no, you're not going to go in there and plan your next
kids that went into boot camp like that didn't have parents, bro. I remember when I went to MEPS and we were shipping out, this kid showed up
just real quickly,
and he
right, hey, again, time out. Just before you go, MEPS is it's the processing station, yes. Right? It's you're still a civilian, you're going to get processed and then get on a bus and then get on a plane.
Yeah, that's where it starts. But this kid was homeless and he scored a 99 on the ASVAB and they were sending him his intel. And he showed up, and now you remember this is shortly after a couple years after Columbine and shit. Dude had black fingernails, black trench coat, and this is who I had to sleep with in the hotel, And he was a good. It seemed like a really good kid, and I'm talking to him. He's like, "Yeah, dude, I've been living on the streets for like 2 years, and I finally just decided to sign up." I'm like, "What?" So who knows? That dude could be a fucking
Murph.
General.
So ASVAB is your basic entry exam to, I don't know if it really gauges how smart you are.
SATs for the Marines.
Yeah, you consider it like that. But Murph, doesn't it make sense that somebody scored like a 99 on the ASVAB would go to Intel?
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing I think you guys do differently in the Marine Corps. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. But you got or is that just the old way of it? Like, can you guys already have your military occupational specialty, your job, before you go to basic, or do you guys get assigned afterwards?
Yes. Yeah. So when I
you can get it ahead of time now.
Yeah. So when I signed up, like I said, on my 18th birthday. I took the ASVAB. Now you do not get placed based on your ASVAB. There's like 4 sub scores, and I don't remember what all of them are. I remember I told him I wanted to be a military police, and I want to say the sub score was a MC or MT, and I had to have a score over that, right? So the 4 sub bases of that ASVAB tells the recruiter where he can place you. So I went into boot camp with my MOS. But you got to remember, every Marine's a rifleman. After boot camp, you still have to go to combat training. Now, like Murph's hard charger, he's an 0311. He's a grunt. He's going to do 3 to 4 times longer, combat training than I am.
Yeah.
Now, since because military police is actually a combat MOS in the Marine Corps, the Army, from my understanding when I was in, the Army had like 10 different battalions of MPs, one for each mission: route reconnaissance, route signing, route ambush, blah, convoy security, blah, 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 law enforcement, blah, 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 blah. The Marine Corps had one company that was attached to HSNS battalion or a company. So I would have been a company that was attached to Murph's battalion, and like field MPs or would have been like a weapons platoon at that point. Okay, in that subset, but that ASVAB is all about that total score doesn't mean crap. Yeah. They look at some weird there's four subsidies that tells you where you can go.
And Murph, I'll bring it over to you. Just a little point of intersection. So, you go through, you take the test, you do have to score high enough for certain jobs in the Army anyway, right? That's how we did it. But, the biggest thing, so I don't know if you want to take this, what direction you want to go, but your recruiters are liars. They're all, and the things now, they probably don't want any of us talking about, just about how much the recruiter bullshits you. Like, you score high enough to do something, and then you're like, okay, so I want to get an airborne slot, and I want to go to Ranger school, and I want to have a chance to make battalion. You don't just get it. You got to earn it. But I want that chance. My recruiter was like, oh, dude, this is what we do. We make you an 11 X-ray. The X-ray means you're unassigned. And because you're not open contract. Yeah. So because you're not already designated as a mortarman or a tow gunner, whatever, you'll be the first one that they look at, for going over to battalion. Like, oh, that makes sense to me. I was 16 years old. I went in the military. I turned 17, and 10 days later, I was in Fort Benning, Georgia.
So that's the difference.
That made sense to me, though, boys. Until I got down, in that day of basic training, and that's when my drill sergeant stole my fucking shirt. I'm like, we're getting ready for graduation, and I'm like, so, and they're like, yeah, no, here's your papers. You're going to the 101st. I'm like, well, what about airborne school and range? Like, you don't have a slot for that. I'm like, yeah, but my recruiter, and then you can just see everybody just start laughing. You're like, oh, your recruiter. Yep, motherfucking recruiters, dude.
Man, I don't know. My recruiter, I was the easiest sell for that dude ever. I've ran into him several times after. He was based in Missouri. He was an admin guy, and I didn't know that until way later. Because he carried himself in such a way. I thought he was infantry. Like, I thought this dude was like hard charger, fucking gung ho, let's do this. And then I found out way later that he was an admin guy, finance from Kansas City, and that was fun. But he 100% to me the whole time told me exactly what my ASVAB was. He's like, man, you can do whatever you want to do outside the nuclear field. I'm like, I want to shoot shit and blow stuff up. He's like, okay, what do you want to do? I said, infantry. He goes, what do you can do other stuff. I'm like, no, I want to do infantry. And we had a huge discussion about it. He's like, what do you want to do? I said, dude, nobody watches movies about guys that drive trucks and do all that stuff. And there's nothing wrong with it. It all has a place. And you figure that out later too, that everybody's got a place, right? That bullets don't fly without supply. That's legit. But it's also some shit they tell themselves to make themselves feel important when you're supply. But it's everybody has a role. It's just like a stage production. You go to I've never found myself in Broadway, but I've watched High School Musicals with my daughter, and everybody, the kids in the background, the kids in the mixing boards, everybody's got a role to make that go, and it's legit. But
just before you go any further, just on that, it is legit. We're not trying to make this a serious episode, but in my personal experience, I've met a lot of people who try to downplay or not tell you what their job was, and then you find out they were a truck driver. I'm like, why be embarrassed in that? Fuck, I didn't want to drive up and down Route Irish and fuck, no, dude, no. You can have your job. Fuck that. I'd rather be out here doing this.
Yeah, but and like I said, I mean, it's everybody's there to support the infantry because that is the main effort most of the time. But it's not like you're the star of the show. It's just saying that's the guys that go in and do the stuff. Everybody else, and the Marine Corps is really good about it, saying, "Hey,
you're here." Show, Murph. You are the grunts are the star of the show. You are the star of the show. Everybody else in the Marine Corps supports you.
Well, okay, but what I'm saying is, it feels weird saying that as a guy that was in there, but it's like,
right.
But the thing is,
it's in all fairness.
People know that.
Hang on, in all fairness, so people don't think we're talking around this. We're all in agreement here. But the reality is, if there's no infantry, then you don't need any of these other things.
No
What is
shit.
the Air Force going to like, how are they going to occupy a country and take it?
Yeah.
So, but to your point also, Murph, again, not trying to turn this into too serious. We can't do what we do without those guys.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
those guys
Or
live to support us.
You guys, yeah.
Yeah, they live
Our whole
to
job
support.
was based on bringing you beans, bullets, and band-aids.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
Counter security.
When I was in the agency, my very first tour, I'm working with Keg. I'm working with these guys, and they kept me around because I kept them fed. So what we're really trying to say, dude, I was just feeding they're meat eaters. They are the premier fucking carnivore predator on our planet, and you got to keep throwing them fucking raw steaks every day to keep them happy. That's why they kept me around, because I was keeping them happy. So again, there's nothing wrong with that. We all have our roles, we all have our places and our positions.
Yeah, but
it's not a big deal. That's all I'm trying to
wins wars.
say. That again.
The base infantry is what wins wars.
Yeah.
At least back, 20, 30 years ago. Now the spec ops and the meat eaters and all that kind of shit that you're talking about, they're taking care of problems before they become problems. Dudes like Murph and thousands of them, the only way you can win a war is with thousands of people on the ground. And that's Murph. And that's why Marines are so important. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to need a cigarette here before it's over if you guys keep blowing.
Well, hang on. You might as well light up, because I'm going to add to it right now.
Not in my house. I'll kill a smoker, even if it's me.
But that is a great point. I mean, but because that is what we need. And that's why I kind of wanted to do this episode, at the end of the year and have some levity and stuff, because I think we've lost that. And I didn't know that you guys were as young as you were. I thought you guys were a little bit more, at least close.
Man, I thought my skin routine was a little better than that shit. I thought you knew.
But my point is, this is what the military is like, and it has to be this way because of what Gimli's saying. How else are you going to get guys? How you're going to do it? You're going to strip them all down naked, have them throw all their shit in the middle of a fucking room, do jumping jacks with their little peckers flapping around, and you'll get over your inhibitions and all that kind of shit. I had a guy in my basic training who was an urban black guy, and he fucking hated me because I was a white. He hated me because I was a white guy, because I was a stupid, ignorant guy. Where I grew up, there was 3 black people in my whole county: the sheriff and 2 of his daughters, right, or 2 of his kids. He had a daughter. Yeah, I think he had both daughters. I can't remember, but that was it. I'm a northern guy. This was my first time being around anyone from a city, let alone from a different fucking culture or race or ethnic group or skin color. I didn't give a fuck. I didn't know any better. But there were people who were like, you're this, you're that. I'm like, no, I really don't give a shit. But so that's what you have to. But by the end of basic training, all of that shit got the fuck beat out of us. You were all green. And I don't know if you guys use that term in the.
Yeah, there's dark green and light green. Yeah.
Dark green, light green.
Well, okay, we didn't say it that way, but at the end of the day, we're all green. You're all brothers. It doesn't matter what your melanin
the point of basic
is.
training is it breaks you down into your base elements as a human being, and they build you who they want you to be.
Well, it strips away your individualism and makes you a team.
Because you're hardwired. I mean, I still have issues 20 years down the road. I'm still hardwired. I was taught take care of the small things, because small things don't get the big things. So I'm hard on my family about this and that and this and that and this and that. And then before you know it, everybody's pissing me.
Yeah.
Murph, you were going to.
That's a challenge.
We were talking about the green, and then right before Gimli was talking, it seemed like you had a little bit more, and I kind of want to come back to it because you were seeming pretty insightful. Our conversation was that
that's my entire life. I had a direction I was going, I fucking lost it, but oh well.
Dark green, light green.
That's where we're going.
Dark green, light green.
Well, I mean, but that's what I was saying. That's what we were saying. The point of boot camp is to strip away your individuality and make you part of a team. People used to say that The Marine Corps brainwashes you. The whole jar head. You take off the top of the head. You fill in what you want. Close it up. Kind of true, because they basically say that esprit de corps is legit. Like they make you a fucking team. Like it's when they talk about modern day Spartans and all. It's a warrior culture that they cultivate and say, hey, there is nobody here that is better than anybody else. You're all in it for each other. It's for your like even in combat, you're doing it for the dude to your left and right. It's not for God. It's not for country. You may have went there for that, but you're doing it for your buddies on the line when you're there.
I think that's why those Spartan movies actually have such an appeal. Well, for me, they do.
And they're mildly homoerotic, which is just like the Marine Corps.
well, but if you just take it from like, that, because it has to be beaten into you. I mean, that's just the reality. We're not bred that way. That's just not, in I don't want to turn it into too much of a political commentary, but if you go back to it's like the movie, The 300 and Leonidas, however you want to say it, he's talking to the deformed guy, who's the son of a Spartan, and who's very adamant. He wants to fight. But Leonidas is pointing out you have to be able to lift your shield up because that's what protects this other guy. And that's what it really is. I mean, and I think, and maybe subconsciously I did want to have this kind of conversation because, we're ending the year. Next year might be terrible. And we've got to get back into learning how to support each other and be part of a team and put all this other bullshit aside in a weird way. And the military is really good at doing that. So I'm going to tell a little basic training story. It's one of my favorite stories my whole time in the military. And for some people, they're going to think I'm being racist here.
Did you get laid in boot camp?
What's that?
Did you get laid in boot camp?
It was in the infantry, dude.
How can you get laid in boot camp?
Yeah, you just weren't trying hard enough. You didn't, but okay.
Well, I don't. Not like
hey, Gimli. He did say he was at he was at the Hollywood side of it.
There's a lot of hair gel floating around. Things get slick. I don't know.
I hate to say this, but Army boot camp. Isn't it like they got boys, girls, bisexuals? They're all in the same platoon.
I have no idea anymore. I really don't.
Sorry, I was derailing your story, Mark. Go ahead.
But we're on a good little side story.
And they were.
No, but we're on a good side story. And
all right, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like anymore. I mean, I that was 1985 is when
when I was in MP Academy. So the MPs, Army, Air Force, Marines, they all went to the same school in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and there was a basic training there. There was a female drill sergeant, a male drill sergeant, and the platoons were co-sex. How are you going to create a war-making machine with boys and girls when they're 19 years old in the same camp? You can't.
You've sidetracked us.
I'm sorry.
I was going to do my basic training story, but I'll give my officer story now. So I was the first person in the state of Illinois who, I'm a Mustang. I transitioned. I was an E7.
I told you were a
platoon sergeant.
Technically, you're not a Mustang. You were in the Army.
No, it's still the same thing.
Mustangs aren't Navy and Marines.
No.
Army don't have a different term for that?
No, for us, and if you were an enlisted man and then become an officer, you're a Mustang.
Okay,
but not the.
That's what you say in the Army too, because that was a Marine. I thought that was a Marine thing.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. No, that's so. I'm pretty proud of that. I'm a Mustang. So I am an officer, but I'm a Mustang.
That too. You're awesome.
Yeah. Well, so here again, you're sidetracking even my sidetrack story.
Sorry.
But when people ask me my rank, I say 03E. I'm very adamant about putting that E on there. The E stands for enlisted. So I retired as a captain in 03, enlisted. I'm really adamant. I'm like, no, I didn't go to West Point. And no offense, I didn't go to the city. I actually was an E7. And because of my educational background, my degree, blah, 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 I was able to transition over, but I still had to go through infantry officer basic course. IOBC. So this is where I'm going with this, back to the story about boys and girls working with each other. And to your guys' point, So for us in the infantry, so this was the very first year the Army, excuse me. This is the very first year the Army tried to emulate you guys. We tried to bring all of our junior officers who are just getting ready to become lieutenants, butter bars, and they put us all together. I think we did 9 weeks together, and then those guys went off, and then we did another 9 weeks of just regular infantry. So for the infantry guys, we basically did infantry basic, officer basic twice. But to your guys' point, so now we have truck drivers, male and female. We have EOD, explosive ordnance people, male and female. We have all these people from other branches in the Army who aren't infantry, who are now being subjected to infantry training.
It was basic,
and it was boys and girls. So you could it was such
AIT or anything like that. It was basic.
Say again.
When I was in, it wasn't AIT. The boys and girls were in basic training. AIT is always AIT or MOS school.
Yeah.
Was always co-sex, but when I was at Fort Leonard Wood, basic training was boys and girls with a boy drill instructor and a female drill instructor.
Well, okay, but that's a separate thing. All I'm trying to say is the Army tried to adopt the Marine Corps policy of having officers from different branches come together and go through, because that'll make us a better warrior spirit, and and you'll get to know those
MOS
people.
school. You're saying MOS school. That wasn't basic training. It was MOS school.
No.
Yeah.
No, give me. This is my officer training.
Oh,
this
okay.
doesn't mean an enlisted.
This is above enlisted. This is
So we were trying to do this in the officer training to what you guys do on the Marine Corps side. But to Murph's point, and this is all I'm trying to get at, is it was a complete and utter disaster. And there's funny stories there. If we get to funny stories, seems like we're getting sidebarred with not so many funny stories.
I got plenty of funny stories for you.
But Murph, back to you. Because you had mentioned it, I wanted to bring it back around. I'm sorry that we got so sidetracked.
That's my fault. I apologize.
I'm pretty distraught over it.
You seem that way. But back to your point, though. I mean, it's not a good idea. And at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is create, and we're getting a little bit too serious, but you're trying to create an effective and efficient, team that locks its shields. That's why that movie is so resonating with so many people. It shows the unity. It shows what training can provide.
Going back to the 300 is what you're saying.
Yep, back to the 300.
Hey, Murph, let me ask you a question. If your daughter goes in the Marine Corps, do you want her trained by a man or a woman?
So that's where I was going to go with it, because I understand the value of you're there for a mission, and the mission supersedes everything else. Your feelings, fucking social norms, social constructs, all that other horse shit. So if you say, hey, we're going to interject this into it and it hurts the mission, then it doesn't get interjected. You leave it out and make sure the mission is primary, right?
Right.
Now, as far as my daughter, because she's 13 for another month or so, she still is in her mind at this hour thinking she's going to go Marine Corps. Next week, tomorrow, who knows? She might change her mind and decide she's going to fucking Yale. I don't know. This kid is all over the place.
Let's fast forward when she's 18 years old.
Sure.
If she's 18 years old and she has a male drill instructor that's 24 years old, are you going to be happy, or I shouldn't even say happy?
Satisfied.
How do you feel about it?
No, are you going to be okay with a 24-year-old male drill instructor controlling how she puts her left sock on and right sock on when she's 19 years old? As a father, that's what I'm asking. I'm not trying to,
That's an interesting point, because I hadn't even thought that far. And maybe in my naivety, I was kind of thinking, hey, the Marine Corps got this shit figured out.
And I think they do, but I don't think they're going to do that. But
I think, and this is just me, this is my average fucking Midwestern fucking view on shit.
I'm talking to you as a dad.
Yeah, but I'm saying this is what I think is, I think they need to take, you need to have female drill instructors over females, males over males, and then once you get into your right? Whatever you want to call it, your A school, or we called it MOS, whatever, Yes. So if you're on MCT or ITB, then you have maybe some mixed fucking drill instructors, but you still have in your barracks, you have those dudes or those females over those dudes and those females underneath you. You don't mix that shit.
So just so you know, because I mean, you went to combat training, MOS school.
ITB, yeah, that's right.
MOS school it's like going to college. You have dorms, and it's not like you're in a squad bay.
They're not squad bays anymore.
No.
Okay.
The boot camp squad bays.
We had squad bays in both.
MCT squad bays are combat training, right?
Yeah. We had it at ITB. We had squad bays.
Yes. When you go to MOS school, it's not a squad bay. We were in Air Force barracks when we were there. And then they ended up kicking us out because there are cockroaches there because they had to pay us extra or some bullshit like that. Or they had
We'd have been like, that's fucking protein. Go for it.
Yeah. So, like, girls going like if your
Cockroaches
daughter's going to
hang on. Cockroaches also teach military people how to conduct ambushes. Just want to throw that out there. You got to have cockroaches. So
no, but my point is you definitely don't. I would not want my daughter to be in a like boot camp with a male instructor, right?
Okay, hang on. Let me just interject, fellas. So let me just throw this out there and let's just see where the conversation goes. I know it's not that I have a different view, but I don't know how you guys have never really talked to each other before. I've talked to both of you guys. I really know where John's going. Murph, I think I know what you're saying, but I think the comment that's not being spoken, and this is what I'll try to do, is just throw this out there for everybody, and leave a comment there if you're watching the video and tell us what you think. The real question is, should boys and girls be in joint facilities? Look, it's not, none of this is to say that women can't do this and men can't do that. Although there are things that women can't do and there are things that men can't do. And that's just like, we got to be more adult and realistic about that. And I think that's kind of what John's implying is like a 24-year-old young man drill instructor, telling an 18-year-old girl. I'm here to tell you. And I saw that with, quote unquote adults in my infantry officer thing. That was the only time in my military career I actually worked with females. And it was as bad as you thought what John is implying. Boys and girls were sleeping with each other. Shit wasn't getting done. No one was on pulling guard. I mean, it was fucking horrible. So, I mean, we had a female. She was a badass. She was like her little thing was she was into powerlifting, and that was like her little side gig. And she may have actually been in some make. She was a badass. But when we went to the field and she had to put, the spare 240 barrel in her rucksack or, the simulated, mortar rounds, girl couldn't ruck to save her fucking life. But then the moment we got back into cantonment, AKA the rear where your base is, the moment we got back into cantonment, she was in the gym fucking slamming weights.
Yeah.
So I mean, so this is the issue that we as adults, as human beings, are not willing to actually talk about. So I don't know how you guys want to kind of dance around this or settle that, but I mean, it's a good question, John. Seriously.
Listen, I'm not implying that. Like,
no one's saying you are.
Let's just be clear. When I was in Fallujah, I had because field MPs, it was a gray area where women could go into combat MOSs. I had a Lance Corporal Creighton. That girl could fire a 249 saw. Amazing. She was amazing in combat. That's not what I'm bringing up. What all I was saying is like, as a father, if I'm going to send my daughter to boot camp, I would want her to have a female drill instructor. I don't want a 22, 24, 30. I don't want any man to I don't care if he's 50 years old. I don't want to have that man have the power over a 19-year-old girl. Like when we and Murph were in boot camp, those men had power over us, right? Could you imagine if we were women and they, I'm not to get x-rayed or they're horny or anything like that? I mean, some bad shit could happen. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's just, before you respond, Murph, let's just be fair. And John, there ain't no reason to poo-poo it because this makes it maybe funny. Ladies, you guys are worse than us. You're worse than I've been around plenty of ladies in my life. You guys can curse just as good as any guy. You talk about sex probably a hell of a lot more.
Yeah,
And we're the ones who are supposedly think about it every 30 seconds.
Man
Yeah, no. So to
That's
John's
nice.
point, yeah, I would never want to see a platoon of guys with only female drill instructors. I don't think that's.
No, I'm saying the opposite.
Well, no, I know, but I'm just saying, John.
I want to know.
John, I'm just saying, in either way, it doesn't work out. I'm just trying to say for anybody who watches this video, if you're only assuming that men are lecherous like this, you're just fooling yourself.
That's not
Women have all the capacity to do all this stuff as well.
I'm saying 24-year-old drill instructors doing basic training with females. I don't want that to happen. And I don't know if that's happening, but that would be my concern because everything is getting soft.
Let's bring it over to Murph. He's been sitting there like, are those guys still arguing with each other?
Well, no, because I'm listening, and it's bringing up a lot of points that maybe I haven't considered, or maybe that I was like, that won't come up on this one because this is more of a lighthearted thing. But either way, it doesn't matter. It's here now.
It was supposed to be.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's here. It's fine. But no, my daughter. So my job as a father is to raise my daughter for the world around her and the world that I think she's getting ready to enter. Right. And these are good points that I need to take into consideration, but I need to maybe pivot my training or my mode of fatherhood a little bit to her, because I've trained her well enough that, they always say, oh, what is it? What's that thing about like, I'm gonna be there cleaning the shotgun with when the boyfriend comes back to show him that I need business.
Yep.
Fuck that. My kid will fucking suss out every one of those assholes before they come to me. I guarantee it. This kid's got a good head on her shoulders. She will fucking light them up. Same with fucking combatives. Like, she can fight off some dudes. Don't get me wrong, not more than one, I'm sure, because nobody's fucking roadhousing the shit. But she's a fucking good kid. She's got a good head on her shoulders. However, when you're, like you said, you're in boot camp, your instructors are God, right? They could tell you to low crawl across glass to get the fucking head, and you're going to do it.
Or in the Army, though, right?
Yeah, yes. So she knows she's got a good head on her shoulders, but I also told her, I said, don't make waves, but don't go in there and fucking roll over. If you're the kind of person that you know right from wrong and that DI tells you something, stand there and fucking take it. If he tells you you're doing push-ups or she tells you you're doing push-ups till 2 a.m., go ahead and say, fuck it, I ain't got to watch. I don't know what time 2 a.m. is anyway. I'm going to keep doing push-ups. Like, she's a smart fucking kid.
And don't forget, and this is what I always did, a mental trick. The whole time you're getting smoked, when somebody's making you do PT, and I don't even know if they do that anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Like, back in our days,
right, Mark? You just said getting smoked. You just said getting smoked. You know what
that
is?
Smoke pit. Yep.
Well, so I was just going to say, and I don't know if that even is done anymore, but
that's a Marine Corps term for sure.
Well, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So it was happening during your guys' age. But back to Murphy's comment, I'm just trying to say, the whole time you're getting smoked, just like if I've never been a prisoner of war, and I hope I never am, but it's a mental game. I'm like, yep, I'm out here improving my body. You are physically smoking me, and I'm at fatigue.
You're not going to quit.
But I'm not quitting, and you ain't at home spending time with your wife and kids, or your Netflix and chill, or whatever the fuck that you like, dude. Right. I'm getting paid to be here. You want to be home, but I think that actually helps break you down and make you realize that you're fucking up and you're letting your team down too, though, at the same point, because when you say that, like, yeah, my team member could be at home hanging out with his wife and kids, and I fucked up, and now he's got to be here and suffer with me as he makes me, dig a fighting position behind my barracks and then fill it back in. And that was my punishment for the night. Good luck sleeping, right. And anybody who watches this, if you were in the military before, and if you're in the infantry, whether you dig a down overhead cover or an overhead cover, depending on your era, 2-man fighting position, it's a lot of motherfucking work. It ain't easy. Oh yeah. Yeah. Even if the soil is working and you don't have tree roots or any of that kind of stuff. But all right, back to you, Murph. We kind of got sidetracked there, but if you want to wrap that up, or if you want to move on past that, that whole conversation, because I think that's going into here. My final comment, going into 2025, if we don't all grow up and start having adult table conversations about these issues, then we're going to be we're just going to be screwed in the long run.
Hey, I apologize. That just popped in my head.
No, it's good, man. Like I said, these are things that need brought up, and I know this isn't the forum, I guess, for it technically, but we're here now, and this is what we're doing. But no, I mean, and that's why, this is not a plug for the young Marines, but that is why I'm happy that she's there, because it gives her a little insight into, hey, it ain't about you. Like, it's just not. Like, you can make this like, hey, I'm just a girl. Why am I doing this? Doesn't matter. You're part of the young Marines. It's a unit. You guys are doing this together. Figure out a way to adapt. So she's kind of already got that with that mode. And again, the young Marines is not a modality to get you into the Marine Corps. It's not a fucking recruiting tool.
Oh,
but
yeah.
This is where she's at. So if that's what she wants to do, I'm glad she's there, because it's teaching her a lot of leadership skills and a lot of adaptation. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, John, I was hoping you'd have a little bit more to respond to that.
Keep going.
Yeah, because you took us down that road, my good man. So
I'm sorry. The only,
no.
My only point was, I was just wondering if he was concerned that men would be training her.
Yeah. No, but what I'm asking you is, like, expound upon that. Share with us then why would you even ask that question? What is it that's going on in Gimli's brain that got you to think that way?
I have 2 boys. There's a reason why God didn't give me daughters, right? So I was asking the question because I'm thinking about who's going to be training his daughter, and is he apprehensive about a male drill instructor training her in boot camp? That's all I was asking, right? Because if I had a daughter and I was like, yes, sign up, I want you to be a Marine. Who's training you? Three male drill instructors, and they're all over a female recruit class. I'm not cool with that.
That's what I was trying to draw.
Saying.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to draw out of you. And you're not wrong for thinking that way. I think that's what we were trying to add to it. But I wanted to draw out of you why you asked that question, and you just told us. By the way, that is a good-looking poochie behind you over your shoulder.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she's good. That's good-looking poochie right there.
And again, I like these questions because it makes me think, and I don't know, honestly, I don't know that it's the position of the Marine Corps. Huh?
I said, I mean no disrespect. I'm just thinking out loud.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right, because I didn't ever think I was going to have kids. It wasn't my intent.
And we were talking about something that just triggered in my brain that there are males and females. And because I've heard females are now allowed in combat arms.
Oh yeah.
When we were
I don't know how it goes, at least with the Marine Corps, because like I said, like we were talking, San Diego just now allowed females to be trained there. I don't know that female drill instructors are training female and male Marines, or if there's going to be some interaction.
Well, I'm more worried about males training females.
Right, that's what I'm saying, but I don't even know that it's vice versa. Females right now are training female recruits on Camp Pendleton or on an MCRD San Diego.
Hey,
would you be cool?
Hey, and just to tone it and slow it down a little bit and bring it down.
Fuck you, Mark. No, okay.
I know, right? Fuck me. But that's what I was trying to say. Look, let's not like John, to your point you just made. Like, no, I'm not worried about women training men. I'm like, dude, you should be weird about women training men. Look at each passing day, we find out about another female teacher who's like, grooming and having sex with a 13-year-old. Like, dude, humans are weird creatures, and women are no different from men in that aspect. And
well, I can tell you about a sergeant board that I did not get because of that, but that we ain't doing that either. We need to get back to the funny stories, but I didn't get a sergeant board because somebody was doing somebody, and
so funny stories, but these are the real stories. So I've got my same one. Like I said, I already told a couple from my infantry officer basic course. So we were called BOLIC, Basic Officer Leadership Course, trying to emulate what the Marine Corps was doing at that time with its officer corps. The Army, in an ill-advised and totally poorly executed, only the way the Army can do it manner, brought all these people from all these other MOSs, male and female, and put them in Fort Benning, Georgia with us infantry guys, and said, oh, you guys will all get along and this is going to be great. Dude, it was a complete and utter fucking disaster. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
People were fucking in the field. People weren't carrying the weight, and you couldn't really, and no one in the chain of command knew how to deal with it. It was a disaster, dude. That's all I'm saying.
I know. Hey, we need to lighten the mood though, because we go down a rabbit hole right now.
All right, there it is. I got the story then because you said rabbit hole. All right, no, serious. I got the story because you said rabbit hole. Let's get back into having, and you know what? Let's wrap this up in the next 30 minutes. So I'll start it off. My favorite basic training experience that I had. And so again, I don't, Murph, I think you were asking this earlier. I don't remember this drill sergeant's name, but I will always remember this drill sergeant. Different drill sergeant. We're out in the field and it's Easter. So we were out. I can't remember what we were doing. I mean, we were doing some kind of live fiery type of stuff. We weren't doing weapons qual, but it was something along those lines. We're out in the field and it's Easter and mail shows up, mail call. So back in the day, boys and girls, and this is why mail is an important thing. They used to deliver our mail to us out in the field. Like, if you were in the military, and I think any good military should always do that. You should never, your mail should never be delayed. It's your mail. The Army owns you, the Marine Corps owns you, but they don't own your mail. So we're out in the field and they line us all up, ducks in a row, you're all sitting there, drill sergeant, fall in, the platoon falls in and they start calling out names and people come up and get their packages, and whatever their mail was. And I get one and it's a package. And my drill instructor for this phase of what we were doing was the stereotypical, and I don't mean it from a racist perspective, which I know somebody's going to try to twist it into. I'm talking about he's the stereotypical. And if you were in the military, you know what I mean? He was like 6'4", built like a brick shithouse from deep South Alabama, black guy. Like Murph, I don't know if I can see you smiling behind your hand. You're eating something, but like if you were in the military,
eating, but I know where you're going. I got you.
We all know these, they and they've been in the military for a while, so they're like Lee, like the video. What's it?
Arlie Army.
Arlie. No. Like they've got the vocal cords down and the tone and the cantor and the sayings, and we all have to open up our. So this was back in the day. You couldn't receive a package without somebody in your chain of command. You had to open up a package in front of your chain of command. We're all out in the field, so it's a drill sergeant. We all have to open up our packages. I open up my package, and my head just sank. And he's the stereotypical Southern, just kick-ass, big-ass black dude. And he's like, what do you got there, Private? And I'm like, drill sergeant? And he goes, no, I said, what do you got there? And I'm like, drill sergeant? And I'm just trying to like, I didn't know what to say. I was just like, please go past me. Don't pick me. Don't single me out. And he goes, let's see what you got. And he grabs my packages and turns around and opens it up. And my mother had sent me an Easter basket. And what do you guys think happened? Yeah, see, Murph is a little too serious. John gets it. Murph's like, oh, I bet it was a whole hell. I think Murph is feeling the pain he must have felt. But seriously, I became Peter Cottontail from that moment on. Whenever he saw me, I was doing push-ups down the bunny trail. Like, oh no, Peter Cottontail doing some push-ups down my bunny trail. And every time that motherfucker saw me, he had me doing push-ups. Like, and I was Peter Cottontail to him for the rest of, my basic training. Thanks a lot, Mom, but I don't know. You guys got anything similar to that? Like, and I don't know. I don't even know if my story. Hang on, and I apologize. I don't even know if my story resonates with you guys because maybe you didn't. Maybe the military was different when you guys were in, but like, that's what the military was like when I was in. I got a feeling it was really close to what you guys.
I feel like it wasn't. I feel like it hadn't changed as much as people think it. And I hope, at least for us three sitting here, I hope that it's as similar. I hope that your experience was as similar to ours as ours was to the new guys coming in, where we're really worried about nothing. Like maybe it is as similar, because I know like when we receive packages, every time they'd hand you mail, You'd have to hold your hands out, smack the mail, say mail received, I sir, mail received, I staff sergeant, drill instructor, whoever you were talking to, you received it. And
we used to have to report to the officer for pay every 2 weeks. Get your dress
ours
cleaned.
was automatic. But yeah.
No, walk into the you're in CQ, walk in, knock on the door 3 times, enter, walk it. Specialist Lane reports for the officer of whatever the fuck it was, officer of duty, on duty, or whatever it was. All right, Lane, is this you? Da 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 da. Like, okay, here's your check, and then you moved on. Like, so there was that ceremony actually does matter, I think, and that it
definitely does. That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
I hope it's the same going forward for our people now as it was for us, as it was for you. But our pay was automatic. At least mine was. I didn't have to receive a check. But when I got mail in boot camp. Man, I got mail in boot camp. Like, you had to get it in front of everybody. And I know, and I had an aunt, God rest her soul. She's gone now for like about 2 years. But she was a homebody. I think, Mark, you and I have talked about this. She would get mail, and she was a homebody. She would write 2 or 3 letters a day. Well, when you first get to boot camp, your mail doesn't drop for like a week or so. I don't know what it is, 10 days, 7 days, whatever it is. You don't get your mail, and then all of a sudden you get your mail. And I had basically been told, be the gray man. Don't stand out. Just like anything. Like, we're sitting here joking about the stories up and down the chain, the guys that excelled and looked like assholes later, or the guys that looked like shit the whole time. We were in the middle, so we can joke about that. But occasionally, one of the guys in the middle would stick up, and that nail sticks up, and it gets hit by the fucking hammer occasionally, right? So that's what happened to me. Is I was like, okay, cool. I'm laying low. I'm just doing my thing. I'm in the middle of the pack running. I'm not the weak link that's going to get snagged by the crocodile on the way out the river. I'm not the first wildebeest in the river. I'm in the middle. That's where I want to be. Well, always. Everything I did. And then one day we get these letters, and my DI flips it over, and he looks and he goes, what's this? And I'm standing there like POA, and he goes, look at the letter. And I go, shit. And I look at the letter, and he goes, what is that? This recruit doesn't know. And he goes, don't know. I said, this recruit doesn't know. He goes, okay. All right. And he flips over another one. He looks at it, and there's a number and a letter combination. Weird numbers like 23B or some shit. No idea what it is. They're different letters and numbers all up and down the line. Every time this lady writes me, it's something different. Sometimes 1 letter a day, sometimes 10 letters a day. It doesn't matter. It's a week's worth of letters. Now I've got a fucking pile. And he goes, I'll tell you what it is. You got a 23A. You're going to do 23 push-ups, plus A is the first letter of the alphabet. You're going to do 1 more. It's okay.
I knew it was going to be something fucking.
And dude,
seriously, boys and girls.
Oh,
good drill sergeants can find some way to take the alphanumeric and turn it into punishment. I knew it was going to be something.
If you're familiar with a deck of cards, like doing a workout with a deck of cards, you could have seen this coming a mile away. But I was looking at it like, I don't know. This crazy bitch writes fucking numbers and letters on letters. I don't know. And I never did figure out what it was. I even asked her one day. She said, it was a tracking system. I was like, what do you mean it's a tracking system? I knew which ones made it to you at a certain time. I'm like, you're fact checking the fucking U.S. mail? What are you doing? I don't understand. I said, all that did was make me really good at fucking push-ups and make my name like a household name in that barracks. That's all it did. Dude, and he just started throwing it down. He goes, just keep pushing. Because at first he was like, that's 24. Oh, that's 420. And he just keeps sitting there throwing numbers down. And finally he's like, just keep pushing until we're done with mail call. I'm like, and I just start pushing and just go. And I got really good at fucking push-ups.
Yep.
But, because we kind of just made it a little bit, we added a little bit of seriousness in tonight. Like, I love these funny stories. So again, I wasn't there. I wasn't there with Murph, but I almost automatically knew, at least within a pretty good left and right limit, what was about to happen to him, because that's how the military works. And it works that way by design, and the design, everybody can poo-poo the military. I'll say this. I remember being back in headquarters once in the agency, and somebody was talking some shit. And I was just like, at the agency, they were talking shit about the military. I'm like, you mean the organization that's been around a whole fuck of a lot longer than you, that has learned all of its lessons through the, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of lives, lost to get to the point where you're trying to do, this is the best you can hope for. And you're going to talk shit about these guys. They can outplan each and every one of you any day of the week, blah, blah, blah. And that's what you kind of get. I mean, like, so it is a little bit rote or predictable, but it fucking works. And, and it's just really a matter of like how you go about executing the tasks to take young men and women and turn them into a cohesive unit that actually puts something ahead of them. And unfortunately, just kind of bringing it into a bad kind of tone here at the end. So Jack from Black Scout Survival, everybody knows I do business with him. So full disclosure,
I didn't know that. Go ahead.
and he's a former Marine. I wish I could have got him on here, but I think he's working tonight. I think he's working tonight, and it's really hard for me, his schedule. Anyway, long story short, I would have loved to have had him on here, but he just did a video yesterday, kind of talking about these. I don't want to say similar subjects, but he had a video, and I think it was TikTok or something, and there was a female in the Army, now not the Marine Corps, but the Army, who's coming right out and says, I'm not in the Army for my country. I didn't join the Army for anything other than I wanted my GI Bill, I wanted my, this, and I wanted my that. I'm not here for any of you guys. I'm here to get the most out of this I possibly can for me. And that's caused a little bit of controversy. And so I don't know if we want to turn it down that way, or in that direction for the end. Murph had to step off. Well, Murph,
I'm scared off to take a piss, but go ahead because I'm listening.
I think we should have a.
Well, where do you guys want to go with it here? We got about another 10 to 30 minutes. So where do you guys want to go?
We've been talking about boot camp stories and all that kind of shit. I think me and Murph were deployed multiple times. We have to have a funny deployment story.
Okay. All right. Let's do deployment stories.
All right. So I'm going to do my deployment story. So
I don't think you can do it until Murph shows back up.
All right.
Look, boys and girls, obviously Murph's going to the bathroom, once.
If you want, I'll start the story and then Murph can do another story.
No. How about we just, I don't want to say kill time, but if we're going to talk about deployments.
No, hey, I'm a professional. I heard the whole thing. Keep going. I'm ready.
All right.
Okay, hang on. Before you tell it, though, Gimli and Murphy, I do want to just say for everybody back home, if you've never been in the military, good on you. If you've never been in combat, good on you. But I guarantee you've probably experienced something very stressful in your life. And the ultimate goal of the military is to find a way to get you all into a way of conducting business. So when something stressful happens, it's still going to probably do damage, but you're going to be able to mitigate the damage and deal with it rather quickly. I mean, is that a fair statement, guys?
Yeah.
Can we break it down that way?
I would say it's fair.
All right.
If you're paying attention, yes.
Yep. Go ahead, Gimli.
Well, all right. So first of all, I want to know, Murph, where were you deployed?
Iraq twice, and prior to that, like I said, I did my med float, my Westpac.
So your Westpac was like 02, 03?
Well, what?
02 or 03?
My Westpac was prior to the invasion. Then I was there for the invasion on up to Baghdad, and then I was there for the Second Battle of Fallujah.
Okay, so when were you in Fallujah?
04, 05. Yeah.
Same there.
Huh?
We were there at the same time.
I was 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines. We went in for the invasion.
Yep.
We went all the way up by the river, up to the flour factory. We set up a fob there, and then we came back after, and that's when I extended. I did my extension to stay there, and then we picked up and left.
I was a dude out of TQ bringing you there's a flight line at Lake Tecum, right?
Yeah, TQ, yeah.
Yep. And I was bringing you freaking beans, bullets, and band-aids, bro.
Okay.
04, right? I was in Fallujah March of 04 to, or no, 04 to October of 04.
Okay. Yeah, dude, I was there that entire time.
All right. So here's my funny over the sea story. So we had to provide security for a civilian convoy out of Ramadi going to Jordan, right?
Going to Jordan. So, okay.
Right? So after we get to where we're going to get, there's a shitload of Marines circled around. Me and the security team pulls up with all the civilian, truck drivers and shit would pull in, go in, and there's a big circle of Marines around, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? So we go up, and there's a dude holding a gallon jug of water, right? Drinking the water. And there's another Marine taking bets to see if he can drink a gallon of water in an hour without letting the jug come away from his lips.
Right. Yeah, keep that secret.
Dude, we're all putting money in this, and this dude, he's got this much water left, and he pulls the jug away, and he just spews a jug of water. He just boom, like boom. I'm like, oh my God, he didn't make it. I just lost $50.
Yeah.
What kind of stories you got about that?
I was gonna say,
I have some.
Dude, I know a dude that jumped off the fourth deck of the barracks when we were back in Pendleton. He was drunk as shit. He was in the armory, and we didn't know where he was at. He comes in at one point, and he finally rolls in. Battalion armors told us he was there, and his face is just beat to shit. I mean, it looked like a zombie movie. Like, I mean, just dark circles around his eyes, dark bruises here, shit here. I mean, just fucking destroyed. And he kind of limps in, and we're like, what happened to you? And he's like, well, did you hear that commotion out there? Yeah. Did you hear all the corpsmen up last night? Yeah. Well, he basically pulls us all in and starts telling us, and he's like, I got shit-faced drunk and decided I could jump off the fucking fourth floor and land on my feet. And this motherfucker landed face first on that cool strip of fucking dirt between the sidewalk here and the sidewalks right under the barracks. Luckily, he made that happen, right? But it was like you landed in the dirt, but landed belly flop. And he that was Luby. He was out of Massachusetts. Really good dude. I don't know what happened to him. I know he's hopefully still alive, but I do know he didn't die that day. He also is the asshole that jumped off the pier, I want to say, on our float in Jordan or Bahrain. He jumped off the pier. You know that, like, when a ship moors up on the pier, and it's got the ropes and the chains, and it's got like a strip of water, like, I don't know, I'm guessing 10, 12 feet at least, maybe 20 feet. I don't know. But when you're coming back drunk, it all looks the same. So he jumps in that water, gets on the rope or the anchor, and climbs up. And the fucking squids are having an absolute fit up on the deck. They pull his ass up and drag him off there. He escapes somehow, makes it down below. And I didn't even know this until later. Makes it down below into his berthing. And they hide him somewhere and get him changed into clean clothes and put him in the rack. And they're like, everybody's saying who it is. His platoon covers for him. He never gets found out. Everybody knows who it is. Like, all of us Marines know who it is, but nobody dimes him out. They're like, oh no, some Marine. What do he look like? Oh, he had a crew cut, shaved head, high and tight. Like, okay, cool. That's most of us. Yeah, like, nobody knows. And now they probably have fucking cameras all over the deck. They probably know exactly what happened. I mean, that was back in the day, right? We don't know what happened then. But
dude, I remember when we were on leave one time, we had a Lance Corporal who had a problem with it was alcohol.
No.
I had a IV.
No. Time out. No one in the military has
we
ever
will
had
not slander alcohol on this.
Hey, listen, this is funny because
Come on.
This kid, I'm not gonna say his name. This kid's getting an IV, and my gunnery sergeant is like trying to calm this kid down, right? And he's like,
hold on, he's giving one or getting one?
No, the kid's getting an IV.
Okay, so he's getting rehydrated because he's fucked up. All right.
The kid's 120 pounds. He might have had 6 beers, but
okay.
It was a Marine that like drank too much and just went stupid, right? So we're on ship and we're putting an IV in his arm, and my gunny, who is like the salty ass gunny ever, missing teeth, smells like cigarettes and coffee. That's all he's
divorce. Yeah.
Right.
And divorce. Yeah. You smell like divorce. That is
a funny story is I had to sleep with him in a tent one night on a beach in Onslow Beach. But anyway.
So I just want to throw this out there.
This kid is going, you're not a gunny, you're Echo 7 such and such. And I'm just like, kid, I'm gonna fuck you up. I want a beach. And my gunny was just like, dude, that's who he is, man. Just fill him up with fluids. And he's peeing on himself and shit. And the salty ass gunny who don't give a shit about, he's been in the Marine Corps for like 20 years. He's still a gunny. He don't give a shit about getting a raise or nothing. He's just like, nope. Yeah. I'm Echo 4, whatever, or Echo 7, because that's what he was saying. You're not a gunny. You're an Echo 7. Blah, 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 blah. Kid's trash out of his mind. And this gunny's like, I'm taking it. I'm just taking care of my Marine. I thought it was cool as hell.
Hey,
he smelled like, tobacco and coffee. That's all. I've never seen this man eat in my life.
Hey, so I just got to say this. I just got to say this selfishly. So going forward, I want to do more of these because, this was the first time we've done it. We're trying to figure out even how to go about telling these stories or whatever. But the story John just told right there got me thinking about how many times was I hanging out with my fellow officers or my fellow NCOs, non-commissioned officers, and we were giving each other IVs because we'd been, like Murph just said, no one drinks in the military. Nothing to see here, folks. Dude, that was the thing, so when you're bringing it up, talking about just getting him back in the fight, the little 120 pound guy, I'm just thinking about the time we're driving back for some place and the other lieutenant's in the back seat and I just stuck him and he's got a bag of lactated ringers and he's just IVing up as we're getting, dude, the military is weird, man. That's what
I was saying. Man, corpsmen are notorious for doing, they're really good at IVs because they do it in the barracks all the fucking time.
Yeah.
They would constantly be pumping full of and you would just go to the doc's room and be beating on the door, doc. And occasionally you'd get a cool doc that's fucked up too. But he'd be like, hey, we're gonna go ahead and get you pumped. And he would make things right. And you would still be able to PT in the morning a little better than you would have if he wouldn't have. Yeah.
Oh, that happened plenty of times. And I guarantee there's somebody out there who's in their unit, whether it was again, I don't know how you guys did it. You guys had corpsmen attached to you.
I was gonna say that's cool. You guys had Army medics.
Well,
for the Army, we had medics.
So we have medics at the battalion level, part of our headquarters company. But within each company, within each platoon and each squad, you've got combat lifesavers, things like that. Well, and you all know how to do it because you're all trained in it, and all the stuff is there, right? You're just not giving yourself atropine injectors, NBC, nuclear, biological, chemical stuff. But dude, my very first duty station is when I first experienced the glory that is the IV. I mean, the IV, seriously. Dude,
there's a lot to be said for a fucking IV given in the squad bay or the barracks. Yep.
Yeah, it happened all the time. Oh, went on a little bit too late last night. All right. Or like you said, you got a good medic. I mean, and some medics were probably doing it for money. It was their own little private sick call. PTs in 30 minutes. Doors open in 5. And if you want to pay $20, I can juice you up so you don't throw up on the 10-mile run the battalion commander's going to put us through, or whatever it was.
You know what it was? It was so commonplace for us, at least, not because we were a bad unit, but it's just because that's what we did in the infantry, at least, it was as commonplace as a barracks haircut on a Sunday night or your house mouse touching up your boots before inspection. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Touching up your boots, inspection.
That's how I learned to cut hair.
Yeah.
Dude, that's where I learned the soap.
Off a leave, and they got a bush. They come to Corporal Dunphy's house. They're good to go.
Hey, and not just these type of haircuts. But to your
I'll give him a high and tight, bro. I know how to cut hair.
I've actually, since I've been out of the military and out of the agency, there's, I think, two or three different groups in my life where I've cut their kids, their son's hair because they just wanted to hide. Because I'm used to it, and I've done it a million fucking times. So that's the other cool
all
thing
my
about
friends were coming over here asking me to cut their hair. And I was like, I can give you a high and tight. That's it. And they're like, that's fine.
Well, I can do a little bit of feathering, but just a little.
Yeah.
I didn't do any of that shit. I'm way too white to get a haircut. I was a Puerto Rican Mexican then.
What'd you say, Murph?
We always had Puerto Ricans and Mexicans that cut hair. I was way too white to cut anybody's hair. I was the guy getting cut.
Oh, yeah.
Like crazy. People don't understand.
A black guy.
It was so
hair. So
the military was so similar to prison because you had your, hey, this ethnicity does this. They know this. They're used to this. Like, it was so cool. And you learned how to fucking talk to other people based on their experiences and based on where they came from and what they could do and what you could do for them and vice versa. It wasn't a hey, scratch my back, I scratch yours. It was hey, we're all in this together. Let's fucking figure out how to make it to the goal line.
Yep.
And just so if we show a couple here, let me just get back to what Murphy said first, and I'll go to if I remember, I'll go to the other places. But to Murphy's point, like, you really do, you just realize who's got what skill set and you just do it, right? And some of that is regional or cultural in nature. I mean, it just is. Now, I actually was pretty good at haircuts, but to Murphy, I'd forgotten about that as you said it, though. Yeah, most of the guys who did the haircuts were the black guys. And that's not saying that's a racist thing. It's just like, just most white guys don't know how to fucking cut hair because, our hair is all wispy and, whatever. And mom just put a bowl on your head and cut around it. And that was good enough. I mean, look at John's hair, yeah, right there, there it is, but just on that note though, so this isn't quite the same thing, but I do remember on one of my duty station, my second duty station, because I spoke German, but I was the new guy in the unit, but I spoke German in the squad, and I was tasked to go sneak into the village at night and procure us some food and some beer and all that kind of shit. And that went horribly awry too, because there's a difference between learning, school German, high German, Hochdeutsch, and dialects. I mean, dialects are dialects, and they're real. There's no joke. And I was getting embarrassed, and these people were like kind of laughing at me. I don't know. I must have been saying something really funny. And at the end of the day, I realized they had a completely different word for half. So what I was saying, I was trying to get a half a loaf of bread in addition to all these other supplies. But whatever I said, I must have been saying, like, give me a half of a head, AKA, what, I don't know. But somehow I fucked it all up. But let's just be honest.
Hey, you didn't say my
hang on. Here's all I'm trying to say with that. This is the military, just trying to bring it back to the military. 99.9% of the time, you aren't sending the guy from Puerto Rico down on that mission. You know what I mean? Like, that guy doesn't speak any fucking German. He doesn't look like any fucking German. It's just, dude, that's what the military teaches you, is put your ego to the side and do hey, you're the right guy for the job. You're going to go do this. You're the right. It has nothing to do with your skin color or any of that other kind of shit. It's just like, who's better at doing that, and how can we get the mission accomplished? Well, I just took my sip of beer, and
I don't know what I'm supposed to go with that.
Cool. Well, I was going to say, for the first time tonight, you guys were quiet.
Well, I was fucking eating trail mix and drinking a beer, but I'll fill in some space.
Well, we're at 2 hours, and I'm not going to lie. This whole Cialis After Dark, this has just been I'm trying to experiment and want to have fun.
First of all, disclaimer, I don't need fucking Cialis. I'm not that old yet. Mark might be, but I'm not.
That's because you're a Marine, though.
Hang on.
Yeah, we're going to fix bayonets and make this shit fucking bleed one way or another.
No. Hard till you're 70, boy.
Murphy,
Yeah.
No. You guys are so fucking wrong. Murphy, everybody needs CLS. Center line systems after dark.
I thought you said Cialis. I'm like, we're going to fix bayonets and make this shit bleed one way or another, man.
Well, maybe you just have a weird Southern accent. The business says CLS, Centerline Systems. This is CLS, Centerline Systems After Dark.
Well, we'll do that too.
Yeah, well, this is what we're doing.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't need it. Hey,
I'm in Indiana. It's not that fucking far south.
He was in the army.
Hey, if you need Cialis, whatever you need.
I think you said Southern accent. I'm like, this is Indiana, man. We're not that far south.
Hey, I just got to put this up there just because, okay, we're kind of wrapping it up. We got to get back and have a little bit of fun. And that's going to be my comment here in a second. But do you see the comment Gene just gave you?
No break.
Yeah.
No break.
Yeah.
I do this for the camera, but yeah, actually, I've got a whole box of Crayolas back here.
Yeah. Trail mix for you guys is broken crayons. I love that, Gene.
It's the bits and pieces. I get them donated from the local kindergarten class.
Hey, for the record, because Murph, I'll ask your permission. But Gene just did that. That was a great comment there. And I think I've got enough of the tadpole left. I think I can make a belt pouch. And Gene had reached out to me not too long ago. But because he just said Marine Corps trail mixes crayons, that's just fucking funny, dude. That's a meme right there. So I think I should, if I've got enough material, I should hook him up with a tadpole. What do you think?
Yeah.
Hook him up?
Yeah. No, I like it. Man, I know at least I think we'll agree on this, Gimli. You can throw whatever shitty fucking moniker you want at the Marine Corps. You can throw your insults and shit. Not you personally, Mark, but I'm saying people do. And we just go, sure, we're cool with it. We'll just roll with it. That's why all these names that people throw on us, Jarhead, Leatherneck, Devil Dog. Devil Dog's actually a really good one. But all the other ones that people throw at us and the Crown Eaters and all that, we just take it and own it. We're like, we got this. It's cool. Like, we'll take it.
You know why?
So, yeah, absolutely, man. Fucking give him a pouch.
So, Mark, just so you know, Marines are the backbone of the country. They are the backbone of the country. Period. Point blank and simple. Marines are the best. Period.
I'm waiting for Mark to respond.
The backbone of the country is the hardworking mother and father trying to raise a family. That's the backbone of the country. Sorry to disagree with you. When it comes to our military, ain't no doubt about it. I've worked alongside a bunch of Marines. I mean, like, yeah, you guys have your fucking place, and you guys are some pipe swinging motherfuckers. There ain't no doubt about it. And it'll be a sad day in hell if the United States doesn't have a Marine Corps. If that ever happens, we're done. It's all over. I mean, plain and simple. So I agree with you, but I think the backbone of our country is just the hardworking mom and pa. That's what I think.
Well, I agree with that too, but
yeah,
it's the what do you call it? Nuclear family. Nuclear family is the backbone of the country, but the government's making it harder to be a nuclear family.
Yeah,
I'm saying militarily.
Yeah,
Marines are the best. Sorry,
well,
Mark.
again, you guys, you do you.
Biased opinion, but it's fucking true.
It's fucking true.
Hey, well, I tell you what, though, you guys might have to do a little bit more work. I'm going to end it for my side.
More than we've already done. I mean, is the Army going to lay down even more than they already have? Okay.
Hey, just stop jumping to conclusions. Let me just say my story. So we were doing a training exercise once, and we weren't training with Marines, but at the very end of it, and the Marines must have been training, out on that proving ground or whatever, but someplace different doing their own thing. But at the very end of it, their vehicles, they must have been a block over in a different set of housing or something like that. Well, a couple of my guys got their oats up and went and took a shit in the back of their deuce and a half. And I had to deal with a Marine Corps gunny coming over and yelling, and then an officer got involved in all this kind of shit. And I'm just like, yeah, I have no idea. I don't know anything about that. And if I find out that any of my men did it, of course I will punish them, accordingly to the United States Code of Military Justice. But Gunny, how did you have vehicles out there without fucking a motor pool guard?
You know what I got out of that?
Story.
You know what I got out of that? I got out of it that you were training one time.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's what you said. You said I was training once, and I'm like, you trained once. Good.
Way to obfuscate. I appreciate that.
But no, I got you. No, you're absolutely right. They should have had somebody guard them. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And
Marines,
hang on, guys. Hang on. Just give me a second, because we've all had them. if a couple of my fucking private first class or E4s went out and did something fucking stupid, yes, I am responsible for them. But let's just be realistic. You can't control all your guys at all the time. And I'm sure next time you guys come on, you'll tell stories about when you couldn't control your fucking Marines and they did everything from getting a girl pregnant to starting World War III. I mean, like, if it happens, it's going to be a Marine.
They did all that, but they know how to kill the enemy. That's all, period.
I agree with you, though. I think that's absolutely true. I think it works both ways. And I think I've got stories both ways. With that training in the military inter-service thing, not anything else.
I gotta give you guys the funniest Marine joke I've ever heard. I got Marine Corps in like 2005. I ended up serving at Goodyear Tire Rubber Company, right? With a retired Navy chief, and he was Special Forces Army, became a Navy chaplain protector. I don't even know what it was called, but he said, boy, do you know how you get in the Marines? And I said, oh, Chief, tell me. He said, we throw sand up against the wall, and if they knock themselves all in the wall and fall on the floor, they're a Marine.
Murphy, I think he slaughtered that joke. I've heard it before, and that was not a very good telling.
I'm sorry.
Gimli, you're better for throwing across gaps than telling jokes. That was the worst version of that joke telling I've ever heard.
I thought it was the funniest joke I've ever heard in my life, though.
Well, it is, but Murph is like, that wasn't even insulting.
No, I didn't say that. I was listening. I was like, okay. I was waiting for it. I was like, I got you.
Yeah.
I wasn't knocking it.
That's the best joke I've ever heard.
Boys and girls, leave it in the chat. Tell us what you think. Hey, and if you watch us on demand or if you're live with us right now, we still have some people watching. Tell us, thumbs up if Gimli's joke was awesome, or thumbs down if Gimli should be punished for even like making us that much stupider for hearing that joke. So, and then don't forget Murph. He's guilty too. He could have said something like,
Murph, give us a good joke.
We had the one. Mark and I were trying to figure this out about securing a building, and then all of a sudden you got to throw the Air Force and what's the other one? Coast Guard.
Coast Guard.
You got to throw the Puddle Pirates. I'm telling you, Coast Guard and Space Force. We're not including them in this, right? Like there's only two branches of the military, right?
Yeah.
Well, hang on. Just real quickly though, and just as we're wrapping this up, in all fairness, dude, I've got my hats off. Props to the Coast Guard. Those guys are fucking out there working. No, boys. Search and rescue. Yeah, it doesn't have to be fucking kinetic and search and rescue. And I was at Arlington one year, and so when they march up the steps below the Tomb of the Unknowns, dude, Coast Guard motherfucker had a shit squared away. So Coast Guard search and rescue. The shit they fucking do, like that takes some fucking balls. And then once I saw Coast Guard marching, and I was pretty fucking impressed. So that's my comment right there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're not knocking them. I'm just saying, but for the four branches, there's only two real branches of the military.
Yes.
Do you know what they are?
Yeah, the Army.
And there's two. What's the other one?
You're not a branch of the military.
What's the other one?
There's only one. I said the Army.
There's four branches technically, but what are the real two branches of the military?
Well, are you? Look, I'm trying to give you a hard time, and you're resisting. But you
because I'm not listening. Keep going.
You're not a branch of the military. You're a subcomponent of the Navy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what is it? Keep going.
Well, that's it. It's the Army, and then the subcomponent of the Navy, aka the Marine Corps.
The only two branches of the military are the Navy and the Army.
Yeah.
The Air Force is a corporation. The Marine Corps is a cult.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I didn't know where you're going with that.
That's what
I should have because that goes into that meme we're trying to find about
It's the one about securing a building. The Air Force does it, and I looked it up, and I didn't want to sit and read it because it's boring as fuck. We're already making people fall asleep. I hope not, but
whatever.
Three middle-aged white guys aren't drawing in a lot of customers, I'm sure. What are you drinking in that? Is that the Orange Blast? Is that a Christmas present?
This one?
It is to myself.
No, Mark, what do you got? Did you get is it a Stanley orange flask?
It is.
Oh,
It's my
yeah.
present to myself. The little stand. I might even make a pouch for this on the center line
Dude,
side.
you should, because I've got one. I've got the hammered green one. And Gimli, I like yours too, but yours is a can koozie, right? Yes. You got a fucking koozie for a canteen cup?
Because that would be
No
stupid.
shit.
It would be amazing.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Like, why? You can't throw a koozie over the fire. Why would you do that?
Yeah, but I'm not putting this over the fire. I've been sitting here drinking it the whole time with cold beer in it.
But
put
if
a
it's a
koozie on.
good canteen cup, it's keeping it nice and chill
It's
anyway.
your 0311, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me
Matter of
wrong.
fact,
It's not going to be warm enough by the time I'm done.
No, Murph, sorry to interrupt. But to Gimli's, to John's point, we should have seen you crumbling in pine cones and grass or leaves or something in as you're drinking it. You know?
Hey, if you want, hey, I'll tell you, this is what I've been drinking the whole time. So I drink the BRD, right? I don't know how well you can see this, BRD. And then Hog Molly, it's an IPA that's here local. And these are all, so I don't want to hear shit about Busch Light being real beer or whatever the fuck you're drinking. This is 7.2%.
It don't matter. You're drinking out of a canteen cup.
This is 6.5.
Ass.
And then we're going to go really frou. Like, I might as well just drink a can of cock at this point, because this is Snowball Orange Cranberry Winter Ale, and it's 6.8%.
You were doing so good up until the title of that last.
Hey, I didn't name the fucking thing, but it's
but you were doing good up
beer.
until
It don't
then.
fucking matter, dude. You're a Marine, so
Yeah.
you drink whatever the fuck you want.
Tell them, so what the fuck I want? I'm a Marine. Yeah.
All right, hey, here's the deal. Here's what I'm learning. I'm trying to
Yep.
be better at it. I've already kind of failed here tonight. I lost total control of this live stream, but that's okay.
I like that you thought you had control. That's the best part.
Wow, yeah. Like, what does Bane say?
Well,
Whoa,
fucking
you really?
grain eaters,
I was
motherfucker.
born into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it real, and we're gonna enter that. Like, but that's what Bane says. Oh, do you feel like you're in control? No,
yeah.
I did not feel like I was in control at all tonight, and I
You only
apologize.
have one drunk Marine. Just imagine if Murph was drunk. You would have
Oh,
no
God. Mark has heard me drunk on the phone quite a few times. We've had some
I
conversations.
don't
where
think
I-
that's true. Actually, I don't
No?
think that's true.
I feel like I've the first time we talked, I was very inebriated,
Well, then
and you're
you
like,
really
"Oh,
can't
do you
get
remember
drunk.
this conversation?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
No, I don't think no, you've done a great job.
Hey,
this time.
me and you too, Murph. Trust me, me and Mark done the same.
I like that. I like that I could hide it enough that you're like, "I wasn't drunk." I'm like, "I was definitely drunk."
Yeah. It happens.
Hey, so I just got to say
When it
this
comes
real
to
quickly.
Marines, it happens.
I do have to just say this is to John's credit, however you want to say that, but like
I'm sorry.
so Murph, not like maybe there's been a couple times where you were, but like I didn't really hear it, which means I was probably drunker than you. But there's been one or two times where I think John and I think I may have John worked a much harder day and that caught up, I don't know. There's been once or twice John's been like, hey, motherfucker. And I'm like, I'm pretty drunk right now. And he's like, you're pretty drunk. I mean, like, let's just call this a night. So,
Yeah.
but Murph, I just think you're 0300, dude.
shit.
It just shows you're better at this.
Dude, we were sitting. I know you're wanting to wrap this up, but we were sitting one time. I think I told you this. We were sitting one time at a fire in East Tennessee, and we had a guy that was I don't remember what his MOS was, but he was a Marine, but he was some kind of trainer. I don't know what the MOS is. It was like he was a firearms instructor or some shit. And not taken away from anything he did, but he had this perception of himself that he felt like he had to keep up this image. And we're all like, "Hey, do you want a beer?" And he's like, "No, I'll drink one later." And he kept putting it off. And we're all sitting around like, "Well, do you want a beer or not?" And I'm like, "Man, come on, man. We're Marines together. We'll drink a beer together."
That's
And it's he and I sitting way off, picnic table. I mean, make it as gay sounding as you want to, but we were way off in the dark, shadows dancing and stuff. And I'm like, "Do you want a beer or not?" He goes, "No." He goes, "Man," he goes, "I can't." I said, "Well, why not?" He goes, and we're in like 120, 160 acres of privately owned land in the middle of Tennessee on a mountain. And he goes, "I got to stay vigilant." I said,
Yeah.
How old was he?
he was my age. So at the time, he was probably 32. And we're drinking a beer, and I go, "What do you mean you got to stay vigilant?" He goes, and I was just like that. I was drinking a beer, and he said, "I got to stay vigilant." I go,
That's weird.
and I'm like, "This is weird." And I said, "For what?" And he goes, "In case something happens." And I said,
That's
You're
weird.
wound too tight.
and I'm not going to use his name, but he knows who he is. And I go, "Dude, why?" He goes, "Well, I don't want to be drunk if somebody comes up here and starts a fight." And I said, "Here's the difference between me and you. I was infantry. I can fight drunk." It's like, we will 100% go to war right now. I'll be drunk as fuck, do a tactical reload, and not skip a beat, because that's what I've trained myself to do. Now, not
some
saying
some of your best fighting was probably drunk. Honestly,
Yes.
definitely.
less inhibitions, less fear, less worried. Dude,
Yeah.
some of my worst moments in my personal life when I had too much time to think about shit. Honestly, seriously.
Yeah, and I'm not saying drinking solves everything, and I'm not to kids out there watching. If you're watching this, God help you. You need better
So
stuff.
what happened?
Yeah. What, that night?
Yeah.
He never drank. He drank a fucking Monster, and I drank my beer, and then we went off on our separate ways. And he went to bed with his wife, and I went to bed with my girlfriend at the time. And I was like, that was it. I'm like, and I just kept going. That motherfucker wouldn't have a beer with me. What the fuck is going on? Like, Marines can't drink together? It blew my fucking mind.
I don't
He
trust
was a
people
Marine?
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't trust people like
That's
that.
weird.
For the record.
I'm not saying I don't trust people that drink, but if you're in a profession where you're drinking and all that shit goes together, we should be able to have a drink together.
Marines know how to drink. Obviously.
Hang on. All I'm trying to say is, like, you can be you, maybe religiously, maybe physically, like, again, because maybe it's harmful for you.
Sure.
But if those aren't the conditions, and you're operating
I'm not
in
gonna-
those type of
Man,
conditions, if
that's
you're
not
operating under those type of circumstances with equally like-minded individuals, and if you're not, look, the first time I ever had a flask of anything was on a mountain in Afghanistan, and some motherfucker had a flask, and I suddenly realized how cool that fucking was. I could have just died earlier. We could just die, the next. And somebody had a fucking flask pulling out of their fucking shit. And I'm not a hard liquor drinker. I mean, and then there's a little sip of scotch or whiskey or vodka. I mean, I think it was scotch at that time. But I'm like, yeah, this is pretty badass. This is exactly what men are supposed to do. I know that sounds weird. I'm sorry.
Well, and there's there's certain things that we've all seen movies and been like, man, that's a man moment right there. That's men being men, or I'm sure women do it too, like women being women, or, hey, I sit and watch a movie and go, I think that's what women do. I don't know. Yeah. But there are moments that I sit and watch a movie and I go, God damn, that's some bonding bullshit right there. Like, that's legit. Yeah. All right. What's in your flask right now? You never did tell us.
Oh,
peach schnapps.
It's seriously, like,
I can almost give you shit.
Are we gonna continue with this Army Marine Corps thing all the way down to the booze I drink? I mean, what the fuck, man? Peach schnapps?
No, you know why I said that? Because I just watched. Do you remember the movie Euro Trip?
Yes, I do remember.
Yeah, so Euro Trip when he's speaking German and he's telling him he's going nowhere near Berlin. He's like, I've been driving all night, drinking schnapps and these little pills and taking little chocolate covered peanuts. And that's what I think of when I seen you drinking that flask. No, but really, what's in the flask?
You think I'm a desperate guy traveling over to Europe to find some fantasy girl, and my buddies?
It wasn't a fantasy girl. She was real. Mika was real.
Well, it was kind of.
And Scotty still doesn't know.
That's
dude. By the way, I might have to watch that movie tonight or tomorrow.
You should. It's getting ready to drop off Netflix at the end of the month.
One of the best scenes of that movie, and boys and girls, if you haven't seen this, dude, it's so fucking funny because it's so wrong. But when he meets her family and the way the little brother is walking around, you know what I'm talking about, Murph?
Yeah. Did you watch the deleted scenes at the end when the credits are rolling? How they're teaching the kid to do it? Watch that. That's hilarious.
It is so wrong, but it's so fucking funny.
The little kid.
Yeah.
I'm glad that was off camera because that would have looked really fucking wrong for your thumbnail.
Well, hey, I learned that. So we're, stupid military stories, whatever. I was stationed in Germany. We were stationed, my unit was occupying a World War II, Nazi infantry caserne or base. The bricks had been designed a certain way. How this never got destroyed, to this day, surprises me. But the bricks in our chow hall, maybe it was a different building back in the day. Maybe we converted it into our chow hall, but into our chow hall, the bricks made a fucking swastika. It was a fucking goddamn Nazi base that we occupied after the war and made it into, a small base, a caserne they're called. And that's where my unit was located. And, but just back into what you're just saying, it's like, like this shit, this shit is real and this shit is kind of funny, like I spend a lot of my life over there, and dealing with, a nation of people trying to figure out. I mean, how do you go from that? Just think about that. I'll end it on this note. Like, how do you go from like, holy shit, we are the bad guys and we lost the war. And then, 40 years later, 30 years later, you're thinking about fight. Like, dude, you can pick on the Germans all you want, but that's a tough thing culturally. Like, even just like personally, that's a tough thing. Hey, I really fucked this up. How do I make this better? It's going to cause all kinds of psychological issues. And that country was so fucked up. And my last comment on that note, during terrorist alerts, because that's when terrorism was really huge and people were being blown up in discos and nightclubs and, Red Army faction and other Bader Meinhof gang were trying to sneak into, ammo supply points and steal weapons and munitions. And I remember one time we were guarding the base. My platoon got stuck with that ditty. We're guarding the base and it was a high terrorist threat. And we've got, M16s, M203s, like the grenade launchers. We had no live rounds at all, boys. It was all like, empty magazines. It was like what harsh language and shit. It's like, we're at a heightened level of security and alert, and I have no live ammo at all. There's the military for you, boys and girls. I hope it wasn't as bad in the Marine Corps.
Oh, yeah.
It was.
Iraq, dude. Happened in Iraq. We weren't even allowed to charge our weapons. In the summer of 2004, we were not allowed to charge our weapons before or after we left the wire.
So on the agency side, I had a couple issues with some. I didn't really have too many issues with the Marine Corps. I had some issues with the Marine Corps on flight data, like I'm jumping on one of your guys' helos or aircraft, and they wanted way too much data than we could ever provide. But that we resolved that pretty easily. But back to your point right there, though, John. I'd spent a lot of time on Army bases, working by, with, and through, and we had issues like, you guys can't walk around with loaded weapons. You can't have rounds in the chamber. I'm like, yeah, I don't work for you, dude. Yeah, I'm not stupid like you. You might have to do that for your people, but I ain't doing that for mine. Maybe war stories needs to expand. We got to maybe make it. Boys and girls, tell me afterwards. This was supposed to have been a funny conversation. I don't know.
We can still come back for funny, but I'm saying like
funny.
My mind in that last segment was going 10 different ways. But I do have a question for you.
Well, hang on. Before you ask the question, though, that's what I'm kind of getting at. You guys just took me in that direction, and this is a weird thing. So, boys and girls.
Let's get funny.
Yeah. Well, no, hang on. But veterans are going to get together and start talking veteran shit. And inevitably, it's going to be these type of conversations. So, what the fuck did I know? Like if I thought this was just going to be humor all night, that's just not reality. I mean, like we all got too many different experiences and things to talk about, but I do want to do this again and maybe make this like a segment, like, just like, and for everybody who watches this, if you want to come on and share your stories or type your stories in or send them to me in an email and we talk about it. Like, I like this, honestly. Like, this isn't how I intended tonight to go, but I really like it. And I really mean that. And I appreciate it. Seriously. I appreciate you, Murph, for being on, John, for being on. And Murph, I'm not trying to make decision or distinction, but like, I know John's working his fucking ass off. I'm sure you're working your ass off too. But like, John, just thanks for taking the time to be here tonight, brother. Seriously.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, thanks, man. Because I ain't doing shit. I'm off till the second, so I'm just fucking around.
Well, I
I
realized I just said that because I fucked up the schedule with John. Like John's like, and we still don't even have the right answer, but I did. I fucked up the schedule with John. We're still trying to figure out. We talked about it a little bit here earlier tonight, but yeah, John's just fucking working his ass off.
Yeah, I gotta go work in the morning, and I'm drunk now.
So you're ready.
You're good to go. Hey,
Thanks.
get your wife.
Remember your training.
Get your wife to give you an IV.
That's why.
No, just get an IV. Get your wife to put some lactated ringers in you right now. You'll be good.
Yeah, but she's at the hospital now. She ain't here.
Oh.
Well, you better text her and tell her to. Hey, honey, we don't need bread. We don't need milk.
I just need
we need some lactated ringers. Bring at least one bag home tonight.
That'd be all right. Be all right. I'm a hillbilly. I'll figure it out.
Well, okay. So here's the deal, boys. Here's the deal. We're gonna wrap this up here just in a second. I do want to read a couple comments that have come in because there's been some good ones, and then I want to give each of you, a chance to, final comments. Take us out. Okay, here we go. I think we left off right here. Gene hung around with so many military guys and girls. Respect for them. He learned. I think he's saying he's learned his insulting manner from them. Which that you can learn a lot from the military.
Good or bad, it's there. Yes.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. Then Tennessee says gets his pouch and the girl goes home alone. Oh, Tennessee, that was sad. Yeah, and then Gene says then Gene responded, Tennessee, I would walk you home, but the distance and my wife would stop me. Gene lives in the UK. Hope you had a great Christmas. Oh, okay, I see. They're just giving each other shit. Yeah. All right. I gotcha. Then Andrew is doing like special codes. So I don't even know how to read this stuff, but Andrew's doing like codes on Rumble. Certain, he's like doing OS.
Well, we got to watch it in order, right? And how that goes, like what he's doing it as it's coming in. He's watching it.
Well, okay, but just look at that. That's what he posted. What the fuck does that mean? And I've talked to Andrew on the phone before. I don't know what he's doing.
Shaking my head.
Yeah, that's just like some.
What does that mean?
That's some secret squirrel shit right there. I don't know what Andrew.
I just spend a lot of times on forums, man. I know things.
Okay, so what does that mean?
Bet he's just. I don't know what he was talking about, but he's saying like if you're saying the Army cannot drink the Marine Corps all day long, he's gonna say bet. He's just saying I will throw money on that right now. That's wrong. That's what he said. So whatever we were talking about, he was commenting at a time that made sense.
Okay. How did you get that out of those symbols, though?
SMH, shaking my head.
John, did you know that? Am I the only
hell no?
Here?
I would say fuck you. Come to my garage, motherfucker.
It's like DFQ or
John. Did you know what SMH stood for? Did you already know that?
No.
Do you remember ASL back in the day? Like America Online, people would ask ASL.
No.
No, what is that?
Age, sex, location. They would ask you that. They would say, "Hey, what's your ASL?"
That's what That's what that meant. Age, sex, location.
They'd say age, sex, location. How old are you? What are you, male or female? And where are you at? Because they want to know who they were talking to. And at the time, we didn't think it was young.
I met my wife 2 weeks before I went to Iraq, and I'm still with her 23 years later.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
I'm not saying you had to make it through life. I'm just saying, like, that's what it meant at the time when people would ask. Now it means something totally different.
Murphy, I'm going to speak.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talking.
I'm going to add to John's point is like, if you are in a normal relationship, how in the fuck would you know what that meant? Like,
I'm never in a normal relationship. That's the thing. You guys assume I've been in a normal relationship. Never.
No, that's my point. I'm assuming you have not been in a normal
relationship. Never.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
I had no idea what that means, brother.
All right. Here we go. Keep going. Andrew is saying bet. We must be talking something else. And then AVV. I do remember this part of the conversation. He's like, isn't the Coast Guard part of the Department of Transportation?
Yeah,
you know,
until time of war, then they're DHS.
Dude, AVV.
Okay.
I don't.
DOD then DHS.
Hang on. Stop, guys. Seriously, I just got to say this. So I don't know AVV. I've never talked to him on the phone. He's from my state, Minnesota. I feel like he's a brother. Again, I don't know him, but I'm here to tell you. I already told the story. The Coast Guard is a legitimate fucking organization. They're out there fucking doing some fucking real world shit, dude. Seriously.
They are. They're Department of Homeland Security. They used to be DOT, but when they would go to combat, when we in times of war, we would go Department of Defense is what they would fall under. Now they're DHS and DOD.
Yes.
So they used to be Department of Transportation. Then it changed with 9/11 and all that stuff. Now they're Department of Homeland Security. Then we go to war. They go
DOD.
DOD.
Too serious about this. Okay, so
I'm being serious about it.
Well, okay. If historically they were part of the Department of Transportation, that's sad because they kick ass.
And I'm still blown away at the fact that they weren't actually a military branch for the longest time. That's why it still blows me away. I'm like, I've seen those dudes do some shit.
Well, okay, so
but at the same time, we don't think of it as in capacity of, hey, you're going to go fight the enemy. They still fight the enemy. They still fight narcos. They still fight things on the border. But they also rescue, like you said. I mean, they can rescue people that need rescue.
Hang on, but they are part of our wartime maritime force.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, let me just say it again. Our maritime or maritime. They're a maritime element, and they under war. They do fall under those auspices. So I'm really surprised to hear that. And maybe I never knew this.
You're an officer. I know.
Dude, I thought they were part of our defense. I thought they were one of the. Seriously, are you saying they're not?
Yeah, they're not.
Fuck them.
I'm not saying that either.
I say it. I say it. Fuck them, because I had a scene on the main gate at Camp Lejeune, and those guys are going, you had to salute me, you had to salute me, you had to salute me. And I'm like, I'm not saluting you, you're a freaking Coast Guard.
Hey, Gimli, we just like they said in Band of Brothers, which is true. We salute the rank, not the individual.
Yeah, but
if you don't like the Coast Guard, you don't have to like the Coast.
But they're not DOD. They're not war fighters.
Well, see, now I'm going to actually change my position a little bit, because I've always, my whole life up until this moment, I thought they were DOD. It's the Coast Guard. You know, they're laying wreaths out at fucking Arlington. How is that not DOD? So I don't know. We'll save that for another conversation. Let me just get back to your. But Gimli, I love your passion right there. I loved it. Fuck you, Coast Guard. Yeah, whatever.
Guard.
All right, here we go. And then we got Tennessee. Okay. Well, okay, she's talking to somebody else, going back and forth on the tadpole camo. She did mention you, Murphy, saying, talking about the time we gave one away.
Yeah.
Somebody said you're a good man, Charlie Brown. Oh, that's Tennessee. Okay. Andrew says we should try some Delirium.
Dude, Delirium is good beer.
Oh, that's good. That's a beer. I thought it was beer. I thought it was a conversation for tonight.
It's a beer. I remember it, and this is way back in the day. I remember it coming in. There was a pink bottle, there was a black bottle, and a white bottle, and you got it in like 40 ounces. And I don't remember where it came from, but it's a stateside beer, and it is very good. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Oh shit, we've got a lot of messages. If we're gonna do this, I kind of.
Dude, I don't care. Let's keep going.
Yeah, well, okay, we're gonna have to.
Let's go.
But I need to know what's in your fucking flask, Mark. You never told me. You dodged the question.
Oh, did I? Seriously?
What was it?
So this is what is that? Fireball.
Oh, okay.
By the way, for the record, just for this conversation tonight, I cannot drink. Me personally, I cannot drink dark liquors. I can drink vodka and gin. I can only vodka more. But those are my liquors that I can drink. So I'm drinking a liquor right now. But this Fireball, man, how would you? if you could go back in time, I would probably go back 4 years and I would invest in Fireball because these guys are making so much money right now.
How did that get prominence though? Because do you
have no idea.
Aftershock?
No idea. It's not even, but it's just
Gotta be an army thing.
I'm just remembering like Aftershock was a thing. It was a cinnamon vodka or something,
Yeah.
and then Fireball came about way later
It's a schnapps, right?
and took off. Huh?
It's a schnapps.
Fireball?
Yeah.
no,
Isn't
it's
it a
whiskey.
schnapps?
It's whiskey.
Hey,
I'm drinking cinnamon whiskey right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's whiskey. Yeah, it's not a schnapps. All right, here we go. Hang on. Okay, let's just get caught up. Okay, so delirium, comment, and then for you two, and this is definitely for you two from Gene. Is there such a thing as a sober Marine?
Marine should be capitalized, but no.
I agree. It's in the English
No.
language. Marine should have been capitalized. You're absolutely correct. That was the only error in that sentence.
I like this. You never really had control of tonight's
Yeah,
conversation.
that was a proper noun. It should have been capitalized. Otherwise, that is a very, very honest and true.
No,
sentence.
it's 100% accurate. I just had to nitpick that, but I'm like, absolutely, you're right.
And then Steve,
At least he's
God bless Steve. He did this a couple weeks ago too. But like Mark, he's saying, Mark, you never really had control. Thank you, Steve. Please be my guiding star here because you're absolutely right. I really didn't have control of tonight's conversation. And then here's the thing that's fucking me up. Andrew, with these weird little messages, it's like code words and shit. I don't know.
That's a troll. He's trolling.
No, he's a good guy. No, he's a real person. I have talked to him. He's a real human being. But I don't understand the comments or he's just saying this is fine.
This is what I think he's saying. I think he's saying this is fine. Everything's fine. You know, the dumpster fire meme with the little dog and everything's on fire.
This episode tonight. That's what.
Yeah, I think he's saying. I think you made some comment. We're all out of control, and he probably said, "This is fine. Like this is fine. Everything's fine.
Okay.
Whatever."
All right. All right, I'll go with that. And then Steve is saying liquid bravery. I don't even remember where we were.
I don't know what these time marks are. Yeah, I could probably watch them.
Conversationally, that was too far. That was 20 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. And then Andrew is saying, if and when shit hits the fan, you will not want to be drunk all the time.
I agree with that. You don't want to be drunk all the time. But if you're one of those people, if you feel like you're an ER doctor on call that you can't ever drink, then your life is going to suck.
Well, okay. John, what do you think about that? What are your thoughts?
John, are you an ER doctor?
Well, not about the ER doctor, but
hold on. Okay.
Well, first of all, I'm the drunkest one on the panel. So
that you know of.
What do you mean by ER doctor? So if I was an ER doctor and I'm drunk as shit, do you want me to operate on you or not?
Well, here's where I'm going with this. It's like, you don't have to be like, shit-faced drunk.
Murph,
but like,
Murph, you get the joke?
No, I was waiting. I was trying to see where you're going with it.
The whole joke is you don't want me operating on you right now.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you're an ER doctor, you can't go your entire life without drinking. At some point, you got to say, hey, I'm not on call. And that's what I was saying with that guy that I was drinking around the fire with that time in Tennessee. Nobody expects you to respond right now. There's no need for it. It's all good. So that's where I was talking about.
John, before you respond, hang on, before you respond, to add to Murphy's comment, what I was trying to say is that, like, if that is your occupation, I, as your friend, would expect you to, like, matter of fact, and I would look forward to it, like, whether it's once every 3 months, once a month, for you just to get shit-faced, like, put all that other fucking shit out of your mind and just, like, be able to relax. Like, think about that. And I don't know I think this is where you're going to go. You're an ER doctor. Man, you can't do that for your whole fucking life and be 24/7. You'll burn out. You'll destroy your family. Your kids will grow up to be fucking vegetables or X, Y, and Z. To be a human being, you're gonna have to take some time off and like throw some punches in a bag or hang out with some other guys and do other guy shit or something. Murph, does that? I'm not asking you to side with the
Bro,
gang. Like,
all I'm saying is if I was an ER doctor and I had to, like, let's say my buddy's got a shotgun wound on a deer camp, I'm obviously not going to be drunk like I am now. And I would address that wound. If I'm drunk as hell and have to address the wound, you're going to have to find somebody else to do that, right?
Right.
no,
But you can be drunk as hell and you can still put a tourniquet on a man.
Yeah. You'll follow level your basic training out.
But the only reason I know that is because I'm a fucking Marine and I know how to put a tourniquet on a guy, right?
Dude, I've seen it. I've seen it
I'm trying to
firsthand.
do it. I'm trying to like high five both of you guys.
Yeah.
Murph and like so.
I
John,
apologize
thank you.
for being drunk right now.
No.
What
Don't.
I'm saying is you don't have to be a fucking scientist to put a tourniquet on someone.
No, John. So stop. So
I'm
don't
sorry.
apologize.
I'm getting
Hey,
drunk.
hang on, brother. Don't apologize for anything. And that's what we're trying to do here. This is what the lives are. We're going longer because we've decided, we all agreed, we said we're going to do it. But I think your ultimate point is what I want to bring back over to Murphy is like, it don't matter. Like the very first time I ever stitched up another human being wasn't under combat. It was because we were drinking.
Yeah.
Like, and they smashed a mug and I had to fucking put like 6 stitches in a person.
I'm sorry for
I was like, no, but
I agree with you.
no, your point is very true though. I think that kind of plays into it. Murph?
I'm sorry, Murph.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's what I'm saying. I've been in situations where the most capable person in the camp was drunk. And everybody looked at that dude like, man, you're the guy. And he said, hey, this is what I would do. And he took himself out of the situation. He said, I'm way too fucked up to do this. We have a nurse on scene. Get this person stable. Get them out of here. I'm way too fucked up to make this call. And he handed it off. He's like, but he goes, I know that's my role is to do that. Like, I can tell you I'm too fucked up to get you there. Get the person where they need to go. I'm out. And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah. But that's what he was responding to the comment I made about the other Marine around camp earlier, this dude in the comments. And that's what I'm saying is like, you can't be on all the time. Like, that's why goddamn service dogs have PTSD just like people do. They're on all the fucking time. They're just fucking ready. They're go. You have to give them Kong time. You got to give them rope time. You got to give them toy time. They have to have an outlet because if they're on all the time, they fucking flip out.
And if only she would have come on the podcast night, we could have talked about that. Because
we could have got her on.
Hey,
yeah.
Seriously, you please do me a solid.
Yeah.
Help me out. I love where you just went with that. That would be such a great conversation. Is because people don't get that. We all, and so there it is right there. Not every culture views dogs the way we do in America, in the West. And it's really kind of an American thing. Germans, yeah, they've got, but it's not the same fucking thing. You go into other cultures, dogs have zero value. Matter of fact, dogs in some cultures, dogs have more value than a young female daughter. And I'm not making that up. I've lived through this fucking many places in this world. I don't give a fuck if somebody wants to challenge me on that. America, our culture's unique. Dogs play a huge part in our culture. Some people are cat people, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But dogs play a huge part. And the person we were trying to get on tonight, who is also a Marine, Murphy, I don't want to speak out of turn. She was a canine handler. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So there's the whole, I wanted to give everybody a female's perspective, but I love the idea of talking about what it means, dude, that relationship between a man and its dog. It's fuck, dude, you can almost call it a partner. I mean, I know that's kind of getting a little bit weird, but dude, it can become very symbiotic. I mean, it really is. And we all know that. We all cry when our dog dies. We spend thousands of dollars to keep our pets alive. There's something weird about us, as a culture. It just is. It doesn't mean it's wrong or right. I'm just trying to point out we care about dogs here.
We're all dog people here. I've seen Gimli's dog. I've seen Mark. I know you've talked about dogs before, and my situation with a dog recently, and it's like, man,
yep.
I worry sometimes that I'm getting too carried away with this dog, and it's like I just don't go down the same rabbit hole. But I also don't want to not give in for this dog. It's not her fault that I got too close to a dog before, and a dog is a living thing, just like anything else we encounter, any other living thing we encounter. It's got a soul, whatever you want to put it. You want to put onto it, whatever you want to put onto it, that's fine. But dude, I truly believe that my dog understands my intentions if I tell it something. Now, I'm not explaining fucking rocket science to it, but if I'm telling a dog, hey, we're going to go bye-bye, we're going to Grammy's house, like she knows we're going on a trip and you're going with me and we're in this together. Let's go. We're going down the road. Like she knows that. She's with me. She's part of the family. She goes.
It's not just because you're saying the same word and it has a tone, or
she knows the words have intent.
Yeah. I really do believe that. That's what I was going to say. It's more than that. The animal can understand the intent of the person, because I think that bond is real. And in a weird way, I know we just kind of went off on a weird tangent, but like it's kind of weird, but it's the same thing in the military. It's your brothers and sisters. Like, you're kind of like dogs, you really are. It's like, well, I know what he's thinking right now. I know what she's thinking right now. And that could be from a combat perspective to a funny story perspective, but there is something about that. There's something that we don't quite understand about how some of us can come closer together as humans or closer together with our animals. And it isn't just because I'm a psycho and I've got 100 cats. I'm not saying that. That doesn't make you closer. But there's something about certain animals, dogs.
If you're in Hawaii, chickens. God damn it.
Birds. I mean, seriously, I was going to say birds. I mean, like, John, before I start reading the final comments, what do you got? We're almost at 3. We're about to pull a Joe Rogan, and that was my goal, not to pull Joe Rogan's. We're about to pull a Joe Rogan. So before I read the comments, what do you got, John? Give us your final comments here.
I mean, dude, me and Murph could talk about all kinds of shit. We could be doing this for hours.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna say shit because if I open my mouth, we're just gonna be talking about shit for hours, right? I'm gonna say I love you, my brothers. Love you, Murph. Especially. All right. I appreciate that you're like an amazing dad, right? But Mark, I will say, if you want to get into some more shit, we'll get into more shit. If not, we'll talk about it next time.
Hey, boys and girls, what I love about John's closing comments right there is like, John's having fun. I mean, like, I'm having fun. Murph's having fun. Maybe I hope you're having fun.
I apologize.
And, we've gone a little bit long here tonight. We're not even quite done yet. We still got a little bit more to go. But like, that's the whole point of this. Is to have a fun Friday night conversation. I'm here to tell you, and if nothing else, fuck it. Selfishly for me, dude, I didn't just get to talk to one of these guys on the phone. I was able to hang up with both of these guys using this mechanism to do it. And I'm pretty fucking stoked and pretty happy about that. And I'm here to tell you, I will definitely try to talk these guys into coming back on again. Maybe this will be a segment, because we didn't even come close to talking about
CLS Marines.
Yeah, seriously. We didn't really talk about.
There is absolutely no way I will ever do this again.
We'll just talk about tons of bullshit. We'll get drunk. I'm sorry for being drunk for this CLS gang.
My God, it's Christmas weekend, and it's Friday night and you're getting a little drunk. You know what, John?
Yeah.
You are despicable.
Yes,
sir.
I am drunk.
Despicable. All right, here we go. Hang on. I don't even know where we left off. I think I left off right here. Yeah, I think I left off with Gene saying, "Is there any such thing as a sober Marine?" And then we got Steve saying, "Oh no, that's right. No, I already said that." Steve said, "You had never had control of this conversation." Steve, you are a wise man, or you're just the one calling out the obvious bullshit. Then liquid bravery. I'm not sure what that was all about when we were talking about it. Andrew, if and when shit hits the fan, you will not want to be drunk all the time. Andrew, if shit hits the fan is actually with nuclear fallout, I might want to be drunk all the time because dying in through nuclear radiation would be way more horrible. So I don't know.
I think that depends on your shit hits the fan scenario.
Well, I was trying to make a joke about that and trying to make it funny. Thank you for backing me up. I fucked that up completely, Murph. But always depends on your shit hits the fan, right? Yeah. But I think, I don't think Andrew was being a jerk. I've talked to Andrew before in the past as well. And then he says, however, having a couple cold ones is fine. Yeah, well, yeah, dude, if I see, so Andrew, the air base is about 45 miles west of me. If we get into a situation where this air base gets nuked and it comes up, I will definitely take a couple cold beers because I probably won't last but a day or two after that because of the fallout. And then we got Gene saying, this is for you guys. I am a Marine or ex-services. I don't quite get that part, but I would break a beer with you, Murph. We must have been talking with
any fucking time. Yes.
Yeah. And then he was saying Jim Beam. Oh, I think he was taking a guess at what was in my flask. Jim Beam.
My dad loves that stuff. The Jim Beam Red Stag. He loved that stuff.
Well, that's up to you guys. I can't do that.
Yeah.
AVV. I love Angry Viking Veterans call sign. I just do. I love it.
Easy.
It's funny how some of the best and most laughable moments I had in the military happened when I was getting combat pay. Yeah, we were talking about this in the pregame. I only have two. Well, I only actually really have one no shit combat story that's kind of funny. The rest of it was really scary. But I've got a lot of again, in that area, shit that most people don't quite get, but it's really kind of funny to you, at that point in time. I think, John, that's what we were saying earlier. It's like, it isn't necessarily you don't have funny stories about being behind the 240 Bravo. No, those are horrible stories. But I got funny stories about what happened before we went to the 240 Bravo, or the gun or whatever. Isn't that what you were kind of getting at earlier?
Yeah.
Are you just done? You're done? Should we wrap it up?
I'm drunk. I'm drunk.
Okay, let me get through it then. Here we go. Andrew, when he was on post security in Germany, live rounds and full magazines. Well, I wasn't, and that was in the fucking 80s. No rounds in the chamber. Yeah, okay. Andrew is saying you need some water, John. You should drink some water.
Yes.
Fluids. Yeah, you need that IV right now, my good man. Yeah. Hey, don't be shy. 2 weeks ago, I was in your shoes and I needed that IV in that water.
I apologize.
No, don't no.
I apologize for nothing.
Never apologize. And then here we go. Last comments. Paul is saying we sent the Coast Guard to legitimize their services. Hey, I'm here to tell you, their services were legit before.
Coast Guard.
Yep. Oh, look at Poochie.
She was really reluctant.
Nice.
She did not want to be up here at all. Let's see if we can get a little light on this.
Yeah, can she show off in the camera? No, look in the camera. In the camera.
Oh yeah, all the dogs.
Oh,
she's done.
Dude, nice.
She's the reason I keep stepping off camera constantly. She wants in, she wants out, she wants in, she wants out. Dude. Yeah.
Nice pooch though. Nice dog.
She's a good girl.
Andrew's saying Delirium, the world's #1 beer, is imported from Belgium.
Is it really #1? Okay.
I don't know. He may have
I've
just
had
made
it.
that up. It's just a comment in the chat. I mean, so like, don't take it for.
I don't know.
I mean, Andrew's a smart guy, but I don't know if that's true or not. AVV, fair point. If you can't ever let your guard down,
Yeah.
you want to get checked for PTSD. Learn me something. No, we're not going to try to beat the record. Seriously, guy, learn me something. Great guy, curvy little mustache. No, we're not going to try to beat Joe Rogan here. No,
You know his record was with Kevin Smith, and it became Evan Hafer.
No, what are you talking about?
His record for time being recorded. It used to be with Kevin Smith, the director, and then it became Evan Hafer. Black Rifle Coffee was the most recent. Yeah, it was like 4 hours.
How long?
It was like 4 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh, Jesus criminy. Well, we did that.
I'm good for another hour and 10, you pussies. Let's go.
Hey, two weeks ago, we did over 4 hours, but we're not going to do that tonight because I'm fucking old and tired. I can't.
Yeah, I'm down.
John, I know you're down.
What did I miss? You missed so much. Let's recap right now.
Quesius, nice to see you here. I know who you are. I'm not going to say it unless you say it, but like I know who you are. I'm late to the party. What did I miss? Well, the whole fucking show.
I love you.
The whole fucking show is what you missed. And then Gene is saying, damn, a doggo or two to end the night. Awesome. Oh, he's talking about your Poochie. Yeah. That whole American to English translation doesn't always work out, but seriously, your dog is pretty fucking badass. Can we see her one more time?
Hey, Bluebell. Hey.
Try it one more time.
Come here. No, she's laying on her side like no. Come on, hey. Come on. I don't know if she'll do it or not. We'll see.
No.
She might decide to come around. She's not that well. She's like 7 months old. She's fucking stupid.
All right, let's just do it then. Hey, here's the deal.
Bell, come here.
It's 9 o'clock Central Time. Let's just wrap this up. If you can get, how about John? Let's come to you because Murph is so focused on trying to get his Poochie back.
I mean, I'm drunk.
Well.
What do you want me to say?
Tell me that you're sober and give me some final comments at the end.
All right, so,
like what? Again, what do you want to say?
I don't know. I mean, there's a shitload I want to say.
Well, say what you want to say. It's your final comments. End of the night. What do you got?
I don't know if she'll look at you.
Oh,
Mm.
Murph's our pretty boy.
Oh yeah,
Boy or girl?
It's a girl.
girl.
Shepherd?
Yeah, Shepherd Malinois mix. She's
I want to say I love
Oh,
you.
hey,
boys.
slow down. That's a Malinois mix.
she's Shepherd Mal mix. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I did some training with those Malmots. I don't even say it. I'm sorry.
Try it again.
I'm drunk as hell. I ain't saying shit except for that. I love you, Mark, and I love you, Murph. I had nothing for you guys.
All right, John, here's the deal, brother. I wish I was there to give you a big hug. Seriously, I would give you such a big hug right now. I mean it seriously. I mean it seriously. I love you too, dude. You're just such an awesome guy. Thanks for coming on, and taking the time away from your family and just like, hanging out. We didn't know what we're going to talk about here tonight, but like, I'm here to tell you, brother, man, I would give you such a big hug.
Dude, I'm sorry.
Then I would walk. Hang on. I'm not done. And then I would walk away and fart. Because that's a military thing, boys and girls.
Yeah.
All right, Murph, what do you got?
I'm sorry I'm drunk, boys.
Dude,
No,
don't be
man.
sorry
Hey,
about any of that
dude,
shit.
you're good. Seriously. And I like Mark always tells me, like, we're too far. Well, we're not too far away from each other, but we've never had a beer together in person.
Yeah.
But dude, you're a good, man. I love you. Thanks for coming on.
You too, man.
Semper Fi, bro.
7-5.
So
Seriously. Hey, how about that? Like, okay, so why is that? See, we need to have more of that in our military and more of that in our culture. Like Semper Fi. That really, like, so, the rest of us have heard that term, but that actually, You guys just said it to each other and it meant something. That's the difference.
But it's because we've suffered together. We know what we've done together.
Hey, don't give me your answer yet. That's what I'm getting at. We need to get to a point where these words fucking mean something. So John's over there saying, "Oh, I'm drunk," and whatever. But then the moment you guys said, hang on. The moment you guys said Semper Fi to each other, shit got fucking real. And I could see that. And so
and no one knows that besides me and Murph.
Right.
No one knows that. Period.
But that's real, John. Like, even if no one else knows it, it's still a real thing.
No, that's not 100% real. That's 100% real. Me and Murph are brothers. I've never met the man in my life. I give him a bullet. I'd take a bullet for him and his daughter. Period. Because that's how Marines work.
He ain't fucking around, Murph.
He's serious. And I get what he's saying, and it's absolutely true. And I get what you're saying, Mark, too. Like, what you're guiding towards is maybe that's where we need to be as Americans, is not sit and talk about how we've had it harder than each other. Or, you want to have your pissing contest, that's fine. But also realize where we've came from and the things we've done. And like we all here have done, we all volunteered and all that stuff. We've all had our hardships, but we're all here for the greater good. And I think that's what people need to go, is not because whatever you want to throw to it, whatever moniker, whatever skin tone, whatever age, race, any of that other shit you want to throw on it, doesn't matter. We all fucking swam, upstream, fucking met the egg, made it hard. We made it hard first, I guess. But we all did the thing we did. We're here where we are now. And we're like, hey, man, let's fucking make it through life, because that's what it's all about. Like, it sucks. We agree it sucks. Let's go forward together and make it suck less for those behind us or those around us. Right?
Yes, sir.
That's what we need more of.
Fucking A, right? That is exactly what we need more of. I mean, like, dude, are you going to run for president? That was a pretty good fucking speech.
I don't think I'm a good dude.
I know you Marines are only supposed to operate in crayon, but that was a pretty good fucking speech, dude. That was
I told my daughter the other day, I was like, she wants to be, this is honest to God, her plan. She wants to be an officer. She wants to be in the Marines. We've talked about this kind of. And then she wants to go be a politician of some sort. And she eventually wants to be president. I've never met a kid that said they honest to God wanted to be president, but she really does. And I said, here's the thing, kid. Like, we have all these awesome senators and congressmen and representatives that are officers, and they were this, and they were SEALs, and they were green beanies, and they were all these cool fucking awesome things. That's badass. That's cool. But now we got a vice president that was a corporal in the Marines. Fuck yeah. I said, because that motherfucker knows how to get shit done. Oh, you want me to go steal something from fucking goddamn another state to make this work? Yep. Oh, we don't have a PA system? Hold on. I got this, Mr. President. I'll figure it out. Now we know what a vice president is supposed to do. Because before, nobody knew what a vice president did. Now we got one that's basically an XO that will make shit happen, but he's an XO that's a NCO and will make shit happen. So I think that's fucking awesome.
Which is, and people don't get this. We're going to have to do more of these.
Yeah, we're going to break it down.
Do more of these type of stories, or these, because people need to understand how the military infrastructure, the mindset works. Because it's one thing if your XO does it, but if you have an NCO who knows this power, like, dude, Darth Vader is like a Boy Scout to this person. This person's going to get shit done. And to your point, Murph, so my friend George, aka Triple X, he was the Darth Vader of the NCO Corps, of trying to figure out how to get fucking shit done and working within the system. Oh, we don't have any of that stuff. I'd send George over the next day and I'd have 10 of those things and I only needed 2. You know what I mean? Like, it was that kind of, dude, we need people like that. And you don't get people like that by pandering and all the shit we were getting back, to at the beginning of the conversation. You only get that those people, I don't want to say they're created. I think they become who they are through the right type of forge, circumstances, fire, however you want to say it, that kind of stuff. We've got to get back to that.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough of that today. I think everybody today is more worried about image and things like that. And what we really need to worry about is just mission accomplishment and then troop welfare. Right? That's what the Marine Corps always said: mission accomplishment, troop welfare.
Yeah, I'll throw myself under the bus, and I'm not a big resolution fan. New Year's Eve is right around the corner, but I'll throw myself under the bus. I've had, this year has sucked. I've had some major surgeries, business, this, X, Y, and Z. At the end of the day, though, it's exactly what you just said. And you just have to sit down and figure it out and try to accomplish the goals. I mean, to what you just said, there's no point pissing and moaning. There's no point, whatever your shortcomings are. I'm trying to find a way to make Murphy's comments and turn it into a final comment here as we're getting ready for. This is the last live stream of the.
You're trying to take chicken shit and turn it into chicken salad.
Oh, that's a Marine term right there for sure.
Yeah.
I don't believe you, John.
Don't stop on me. I'm drunk. I'm just listening.
Holy shit. All right, boys and girls. Hey, on my side, I'm going to wrap it up here. I still want to, I'll talk to you guys on the phone afterwards if you're up for it. But final comments as we always do here. Thank you so very much for everybody who's watched this video tonight. If you were here with us live, or if you are so bored that you watch this whole video on demand afterwards, God bless you. Love you. I hope you had a Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah. Happy holidays ahead of you if you care about any of the rest of the shit in front of us.
God damn, at this point.
But
Easter
we're going to do
coming up tomorrow.
Hey, but here's the deal. We're going to do more of this because we didn't even get into the heart of storytelling tonight. And that's my takeaway for everybody watching. Dude, this is new to me. I've never done this stuff before and try to put together videos and do this shit. And I think the idea is right. But I think we have to establish ground rules and get through this stuff. Murph has never had this conversation before. Gimli's never had this and we're just trying to do this out of nowhere with no rehearsals, or that's just not how the world works. So we're going to do this again. That's my long-winded way to saying we're going to do this again. I hope it's with these two guys, or I'll bring on other people, and the ultimate goal is just to share stupid military stories. So hopefully people realize what really matters in life as we go.
Hey, I apologize to Murph and Mark. I got drunk tonight. I apologize.
You need to stop right there.
No apologies.
Don't ever.
I've also been drunk before. It's fine.
Yeah.
John, you are the first person in the history of humanity to, matter of fact, I hate to say this to you, brother. You're not the first person to be drunk on this podcast. Go watch 2 weeks ago. By the end of the podcast, it was a 4-hour fucking podcast. Dude, I'm just too old for this shit. 3 beers later, or 3, one, dude. Yeah. No, you've done a great job here tonight. And thank you. Seriously. Thanks for taking time away from your family to come here and share that stuff with us.
I'm just giving my respects to you and Murph. I apologize. I mean, just giving my respects to Murph.
Hey, so boys and girls, you may not, hang it, everybody. You might not understand this. I'm not even sure if these guys will understand what I'm about to say. But if Gimli, if John is going to say sorry one more time, my comment over to Murph is, dude, wipe the shoulder, and we're just going to fucking nail him in the shoulder. You guys, okay? Murph laughed at that. You know what I'm saying?
It's all right. It's totally good.
You guys need to come to my garage, and we should do a live in my garage in Ohio with some deer hunting or trout fishing.
Hey, but we're gonna fucking rock your shoulders, dude.
No, I mean you whip my ass. You whip my ass. So no, I'm just being who I am. And when I get to talking about the military in Iraq and all the funny stories, I just tend to drink a little bit more. and I apologize for that.
Yeah.
No.
That's
But nobody's gonna fault you for that.
yeah. Dude, I'm
I
like
love
that.
you,
That's
brothers.
probably one of what that's probably why I want to have these conversations is so I can just get this shit off my chest too. So
Yeah.
but hey, don't use that to distract from the fact that you're trying to downplay that we're gonna Murph, come on, tell everybody what the fuck we're talking about. I don't think people get it, and we're ending
Come on,
on
Murph.
We'll just show them when we go to the garage and hang out and trout fish or deer hunt or whatever we're gonna do. We'll just show them.
Yeah.
boys and girls. This is how life works amongst warriors. So here we go.
You just gotta get one when you get one.
There
Right?
you go.
We didn't even talk about playing spades tonight. That's the
Lord.
only thing. So for our app, so boys and girls, seriously, I do.
I'm
after-
hitting my second win, so don't start talking about other things.
He's like, don't start whining back up.
I got another 6 beers in the fridge, dude. We can do this all night.
And John said he's been drinking a little bit. Okay, we're gonna do an after action review over the phone here in a second. But I'm here to tell you one of the things we're going to talk about is spades because we wanted to talk about the game called Spades here tonight. That's another military thing. So this is just going to be like it's going to be some kind of like I don't know, like one out of every 6 episodes, one out of every whatever. It's going to be a thing going forward in 2025. I'm here to tell you, AVV, whoever you are, if you want to come on and be a guest and sit and talk about your military experience, that's something I'm going to do here going forward next year. Because we are going to talk about the O game. There's so much we haven't talked about. This didn't even come close to scratching the surface, honestly, in my opinion.
No, because once we get drunk, that's when the real truth comes out. Right?
Murph, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, no, he's not wrong.
It's almost a good idea to pregame before you get on camera, like I do.
I mean, Murph, we keep this shit.
No, hang on. My last question,
John.
John, sorry, my last question of the night. Murph, how much pre-gaming did you do before tonight?
I only had 3 beers before I got on camera.
You are definitely the Jedi master amongst the 3 of us.
Oh, dude, I had a haircut. They gave me a beer. I stopped at a bar on the way home.
Hey, what kind
I
of
drank
beers?
3, 4 beers. I drank 3 and then I came back here. So
What
I've
kind
had
of beers?
at the bar.
Yeah.
I mean, they were stouts. I think one of them was some kind of pear bullshit. I don't know what it was, and it was like 4.4%. And then I had 3 stouts, and they were about 3.
They were 7.4%.
Well, no, the stouts were solid. The stouts were like 6.5 to 7. Yeah.
Our boys and girls, here's the deal. No one gives a fuck if the beer you had was 8%, 10%, or 7%.
No, I don't.
But hang on. But I'm just going to throw this out there in your defense. Those are incredibly strong beers. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
If you guys are arguing over that shit, the average American doesn't.
I love you, man.
You're a good dude, man.
Well, okay. Gimli, here's where we're going. We're going to wrap this up.
Yeah.
We're going to call it a night. Boys and girls, I hope you had a very Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah. Both religions, our celebrations coincided. Whoever you are, whatever you believe in, I hope you're having a great end of the year. I hope you can look back on last year, take lessons learned, figure out how to make next year a better year for you, your family, and our society, our culture. God bless these two fucking crayon eating motherfuckers for coming on here tonight and taking time away from their families and everything that they have going on. I'm not trying to blind anybody. I mean it seriously. Like, my hat's off to them. I don't pay these guys anything. They're not, they don't get anything free from me or that stuff. These are just 2 men and 2 people who want to come on and share their stories with you. And I hope that makes us all better people. That's my outro. Murph, Gimli, what do you guys got to add to that? Or whatever you want.
Good. Hear it out.
I love you guys.
I love you too, sir.
I mean, I love all you guys. Gene across pond, AVV, Murph, dude, you're doing a badass job being a dad. Don't ever let anybody, tell you nothing different. I respect you, dude, and I just love you guys.
He does seem like he's doing a pretty good job on that fatherhood side, right? Doesn't it? Like, doesn't it make you, Gimli? Doesn't it make you wonder where he's fucking up? He does seem like he's doing a pretty good job on the dad side.
I just said I had nothing. I'm done, and you guys make me have to say something.
What do you mean? Who's doing a good job on the dad side?
Neither of you guys. Here we go. Before Murph is going to take us out, I'm going to do the last comments. AVV, good show, guys. Love veteran stories. Could listen all night. AVV, if you want to come on and share stories, reach out to me because I think I'll come up with some title for it. But we're going to do veteran stories like once every 4 or 6 episodes. Learn me something. My beard is getting better than yours, sir. But anyway, had fun with it. Raw commentaries, refreshing, entertaining. Well, that's what we're trying to do here, my good man. This is like Friday night. Have a couple drinks. Gene from across the pond with a big woo. Thank you so much for tonight, guys. Gene, thank you for taking the time out of your evening to listen to us knuckleheads. And then AVV saying I love you back. Well, AVV, come on the show. All right. You two guys, last comments, and we're done. We're calling it a night. Let's start with John. Hang on. Let's start with John, and let's go over to Murph, and we'll end it right there.
Well, I ain't gonna say nothing I didn't say before, dude. I love you. Love everybody that's following Mark. Keep following him. Murph, brother, I love you. He is 0311 jarhead motherfucker, dude. Fist bumps to you. All right. Doing a great job raising your daughter. It literally makes my soul happy. That's it.
Take us out, Murph.
That's it, man. I mean, you just got to do good for those around you, right? Like we've talked about it before, Mark. I mean, leave no trace, leave it better than you found it. And that includes Earth in general. So that includes passing it on down to those that you train around you, whether it's your kids, whether it's the people you work with, doesn't matter. Leave it better than you found it. And my kid makes it very easy to be a parent. Like, I mean, I can't take any credit for it. She's amazing, dude. I'm very easy to be a parent. Gimli, good meeting you, man. And hopefully one day we actually meet. And yeah, don't apologize for anything. Excuse me. Don't apologize for anything. I got a fucking peanut stuck in my throat. Peanut. So
that's what she said. That's what she said.
Peanut sounds very similar to penis. Yeah. So we're all good now. We can all check out fist bump. No, we're all good. And whatever.
Love you, brother.
All right. Well, here's the deal. We're going to end this live stream here tonight. You know, we kind of Joe Rogan this a little bit. Like we are actually over 3 hours. Holy shit. I don't like these Friday night lives anymore. Now, dude, these Seattle's After Darks are like, I'm old. These go way past my bedtime. But here's the deal. I love talking to these guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. I'm warming up to, talking. And we're going to do that going forward. Like tonight, like we weren't doing that in the past, but like, why the fuck not? If we're going to sit around here on a Friday night and talk for 3 hours, then ask questions, type comments. If you want to be like, I could easily, if somebody tonight would have said, hey, I want to come on as a guest for 5 minutes. Dude, I could have made that happen here tonight. And you could have been part of the live stream. So that's what we're trying to do here. And that's what I'm so, and I mean this very seriously. I'm so happy. I'm so lucky to have, I don't know these guys. I've never had a beer with any of them. I've never shook their hands. I can't test the tensile of their grip or none of that. But I love these guys. These guys are awesome human beings. And I just can't tell you both of you, again, enough how much I appreciate you guys taking the time away from your family to be on here tonight. and none of the rest matters. Whether you were stone cold sober or like 6 sheets to the wind, dude, it's Friday night. We're just having a conversation, and this is for me, this is so much more fun than going to the bar. So I love and appreciate both of you guys for being here tonight. Throw me under the bus if the family, the household 6 is like, why in the fuck did that take so long? Yeah, blame me if you want. But I hope everybody else who watches this, whether you're here with us tonight live or on demand, take your hats off. These guys took time away from their lives to sit and share some stories. We'll get better at this. I don't think it was bad, but we'll get better at this. We'll be more refined going forward. That's my comment right there, fellas. What do you got, boys?
It was bad. I'm sorry for being drunk.
I'm here to tell you, I love what he just said, Murph. Look at him right there. He's like,
I have never been sorry for being drunk. I've been drunk for being sorry.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's good, man. It's all good.
Sorry.
I actually think Gimli is the perfect example of who we would be giving an IV to tomorrow.
Hey, here's the thing.
IV, dude.
Be here for the next one. That's all you need to be.
Yeah.
Be here for the next one.
All right, everybody. Thank you so very much. God bless everybody. I hope you had a Merry Christmas. I hope you have a Happy New Year. And oh, hang on. Sorry, I had a schedule around here someplace. Yeah, we got people next week.
Now's the time to look at the schedule.
And we got, other things. I don't know where I put my fucking schedule. I don't know. Fuck it.
Hey, just remember, Army stands for Ain't Ready to Be Marines yet. Right?
Army stands for Is that what it stands for? Okay, try that again.
Ain't ready to be Marines yet.
Oh, is that what it stands for?
I wish I was telling you that sober.
All right, everybody. God
Mark
bless
knows
you.
what I'm talking about.
I got you.
We all got you. We all got you. That's what makes it funny.
I love
All
you
right.
guys.
Seriously, I hope everybody. Thank you for watching tonight on the live stream. I hope you enjoy this if you watch it on demand, and we'll see you again next Friday. I had in my schedule right now. I'm seriously, I don't even know who's on next Friday, but we do have a guest for next Friday. I'll just pay attention to social media, I guess. I'll announce it. But again, big hats off to to everybody, to Murph and Gimli tonight, and but more importantly, hats off also to the people behind the scenes that are putting up with that shit. And I hope you guys had a great Christmas, Hanukkah. I hope you have happy holidays, and we'll see you next week. 2025, motherfuckers.
I love all you guys. Merry Christmas, motherfuckers.
There it is. Murph, can you?
Cheers.
You just did the best one. That was just a canteen cup. That's awesome. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Have a good rest of your week. Again, Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy holidays. We'll see you next week in 2025. All right, everybody. Be good. We'll see you then. Woo!